I love how he has that Silicon Valley thing. Right?
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, July 13th, 2014. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 634.
This is No Agenda.
With the last episode from the Travis Heights hideout in FEMA Region 6 in the capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
For Northern Silicon Valley, where I'll be staying put, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
I've been doing the show for a half an hour.
It's true. Well, you know, I'm alone here, so I had to do everything by myself.
What would that entail?
Well, getting up and getting my own coffee after I wake up.
Oh, that's so much work.
On show days, Miss Mickey takes good care of me. You know, I get my pancakes. I did make them today. I made them myself.
You made pancakes for yourself.
For myself, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's the lucky pancakes. But we're in the middle of moving, so I got boxes everywhere. The house is half empty.
So this is the end of the rig.
Well, no, the rig is still standing. The new rig is so incredibly small that I can just use that. But you know, now we just have to make sure that that the internet is set up on the other side. I think so. The Tuesday is when we're completely done.
When are you? Did the repeater ever come back on? By the way, on the Ham Network.
Yes, John. The repeater came back on. I even texted you. The repeater came back on, and foolishly enough, I called you several times on the 14 Charlie.
Oh, yeah, no, I put it, I turned off the
no, rig. At one point you keyed up.
Put it in the drawer.
You keyed up because I saw it happen.
That was when it was down.
No, you keyed up and it came through.
Oh, I don't know about that. That may not be true. Oh, maybe because I was.
It's true.
Oh, it's possible.
Hey, being alone here for the past few days, Miss Mickey was in Mexico with her godchild enjoying sun and surf. Why do you make this sound like some big huge hooker party here or something? No. You know, I receive so many emails from people who go back to the beginning to episode 1 and listen to every single episode of this show.
Why would anyone see this? Sounds to me like someone just feels like torturing themselves.
Well, is there something important about this show that I'm missing? There's something we're doing that is striking a chord with people one way or the other.
Yeah, but that really doesn't begin until show 100.
Right. Well, yeah, true. But I guess people just want the genesis of how we got to show 100.
Well, I hope that they make sure. Well, I guess because
show 100 actually was an important show. I remember where I was on show 100.
Yeah, you're in the dumps.
Yeah,
you're in a downer.
We had a conversation about quitting the show at show 100. I remember this.
Yeah, you wanted to quit the show, and I urged us to go on and fight the good fight.
That's right. I think it went something. I don't think it went quite like that. I didn't hear you go fight the good fight. I think don't be such a pussy. Something like that. I think.
Well, that was probably what it was more like. Yeah,
you know?
Don't be such a pussy.
Don't be such a pussy, man.
I think we've done enough. Let me do you. I think we've done enough. We've done 100 shows. And I think we've touched on all the topics we need to touch on.
No,
we've made our point.
This is bull crap.
We've made them.
This is bull crap. No, I had left my wife. I was confused. You know, I was in love. Everything was nutty. And then there was something had happened. I can't recall what it was exactly. And it made us question everything. Don't you remember there was something that went down?
Well, I think we were questioning stuff pretty early on. Not to the extent that we are now, where it's just like pretty much everything. We finally figured it out.
Yeah,
everything full of crap.
Hey, you know, we missed. Of course, we didn't have a show on the 11th, but we missed World Population Day.
Oh, the old global warming scare.
Well, this is very interesting. Yes, and the president actually did send out a little memo on Saturday. Was this? It was someone on behalf of President Obama. Hold on a second.
Yeah, he can't mix his messages.
Who speaks on behalf of President? Oh, Kerry, of course. on behalf of President Obama and the people of the United States. Does he get to speak on behalf of us? Does he have that mantra?
Yeah, he's representing you and me.
I join the world in making World Population Day on July 11th and celebrating the 20th anniversary of the International Conference on Population and Development. Well, you understand that I immediately went to go look at this outfit.
Right, another scam taking away money from dummies.
And this is a Ban Ki-moon outfit.
No, he needs to do something after he quits.
Well, here, listen to what he says. I won't do his accent because it's impossible to understand. Action is urgently needed.
No, don't do it. You sound like a German, Japanese concentration camp.
Action is urgently needed, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said in his message for the day, stressing that too many young people are denied a right to a quality education, a decent job, and participation in the political life of their societies. Now, he actually said something like these kids are in dead-end jobs. It was really weird for him to say that.
You mean the guys pounding bugs on a stone in southern Africa? You mean that's a dead-end job, you think?
Here, half the world is under 25 years of age, he said. Nearly 90% of them in developing countries. However, half of those employed from the group are either unemployed or stuck in low-wage, dead-end jobs.
Dead-end jobs.
Thanks, Moon, Banky. That's really
and
nice.
What's his proposal here? Because the Chinese, unless you move to China, you're not going to get a job anymore.
Well, the whole idea of the ICP, I think it was the ICPD, the International Conference on Population and Development, is birth control. That's the whole thing.
Yeah,
and also life control. I think we need to kill some people. There's too many people.
Yeah, they haven't really given up on the too many people problem.
I think
even though there's lots of documentation showing that it's very sustainable for another few billion. I mean, the problem is distribution. That's what it is. You got people with surpluses on one side of the globe and people with nothing on the other, and you can't get them anything because the distribution network is not set up properly.
Trains.
We need more trains. That's the key.
I've been working on the stream. We've had a shift in the No Agenda stream, and so now we're airing all kinds of different shows instead of music. I actually found one of your old interludes. I put one of those back on. People love that. Music to cruise to in your 1992 Lexus. And I was listening to 633, and you said a word which I know this word. And it was very often used in my family. In fact, we had parties around this word. But I don't know if anyone caught it. You used the word schlock.
Schlock, yeah.
Schlock. And it's such a great word.
Party?
My parents used to have schlock parties. And the idea was...
It wasn't a block party and you were kind of like stoned on pot.
No, I was a young kid. And it was interesting because they did this in the Netherlands. And, so they had to explain to the Dutch what schlock was, which... To a lot of Dutch, it's that prized possession on the mantelpiece. They're like, what? This is schlock? This is very nice. So you'd have to bring a piece of schlock, and you would be guaranteed to go home with a piece of schlock, which is kind of cool.
You get your own schlock home with you?
You get someone else's schlock to take home with you. Explain schlock. I don't think people know around Gitmo Nation.
A piece of random junk that somebody might think is a prized possession.
Yeah, it's like
that would be a classic definition.
Yeah, like a figurine, or it could be a snow globe of something.
It could be a lousy movie.
Could
movie
be.
Can be schlock.
The
movie was schlock.
Could be.
The show. You could hit a dog show.
Could be a schlock. Yeah.
This show number 6, whatever it was, number 630 was a schlock.
A schlocker. Yeah.
I don't know if schlocker's real, but okay, you could use it.
Okay, so anyway,
that was a nice little side note.
Well, I was going to say that I'm very happy that we're enabled to do this type of show, which really it was so nice, to.
So you're left home alone and you start getting sentimental on me.
No, a little bit, and that's because I went down a couple of avenues and went really, really deep on stuff.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go right over there? Or do you want to get some of my stuff out?
No, why don't you get us started for a second? And before we start, remember our mantra.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Just everybody remember, be a rule follower.
I love that woman. I got some rules for you.
Be a rule follower.
So I'm watching, there's a couple of things. Okay, I'll just start off with a humorous piece.
All right.
It's a little long overall, but it's well worth it. This is an epic fail that took place on CNN with Don Lemon. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. First of all,
do you have a tease? We do the tease
I have
first?
the tease. First, there's the tease. This is Don going to break. And then I'm going to tell you what happened.
An op-ed column is getting a ton of backlash. The title says it all, quote, "Dear white gays, stop stealing black female culture." I'm going to speak live with the student who wrote it, plus the guy who is challenging her. And I've got my take on this as well.
Well, now that got my attention. But I had to go out to dinner because it was Jay's birthday.
This can't end well for our buddy Don. I have a bad feeling.
I have to go out to dinner, so I just put it on record. And so Eric's down here, the shill. And so we watched this together because I was on pins and needles. I was ready to hope the dinner would be over so I could get home.
Wait. So the setup again. Let's just understand what you were expecting when you came home.
I'm expecting to see somebody who wrote this nasty essay about white gays, a white gay guy who's going to defend something he said, and a big fight and with Don Lemon, a gay, in the middle of a cat fight.
And in this corner.
And here's what we get instead.
So this is one of those things that let's say you don't really know a lot about gay culture. You should watch this. So you're going to learn a lot here. All right.
Wait, hold on. Why didn't you call me?
It was recorded. It was pre-recorded
when you hear someone say, we're going to learn about gay culture. Hello, that's like you call Adam. Call me on the D-Star.
A senior at the University of Mississippi has a message for the white gay men out there who she says are acting like black women. She says, stop stealing black female culture. That's actually the title of her opinion piece that Time magazine published on its website. And she has gotten quite the reaction online, really. So many people are tweeting her about this. Now, here's some of what Sierra Manny says in her piece. She said, quote, "You are not a black woman, and you do not get to claim either blackness or womanhood. The difference is that the black women with whom you think you align so well, whose language you use and stereotypical mannerisms you adopt, cannot hide their blackness and womanhood to protect themselves the way that you can hide your homosexuality."
Whatever.
Whoa. Of the gay white men who disagree with her, at least one of them decided to fire back a response.
And yes, thank you for calling, Don. I'm Adam. I'm a bicurious white male.
H. Alan Scott wrote this. Recognizing the things that she thinks belongs only to black women is the very thing that causes a separation and hate in our society. There is a reason why this country is called a melting pot, because eventually, once you lose the BS separation and start appreciating what makes us all amazing, you start realizing that, wow, we're not all that different after all. I want to bring both of those writers in now. H. Alan Scott is in Los Angeles. Sierra Manny is in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm in the middle.
Wait a minute. Do we have a tri-box or a quad box here?
This is a tri-box. He's in the middle, and the two are on either side. So here we go.
Wait a minute.
Roll.
So do we have a white gay guy on one side and a black gay guy on the other side?
No,
and
black woman.
Black woman.
Not gay.
Not gay. And then Don Lemon in the middle. All right, everybody, let's do it.
I'm going to start with Sierra. So what's your response to what Alan wrote?
I actually did not read what Alan wrote.
Because?
I did not see it.
Okay, you didn't read what Alan wrote. All right. So then how are you going to defend yourself? I'm going to have to tell you what he said. You heard what he said about that I just read. He said, we're all more the same than we are different, and we should stop the separation and pointing it out, and that would make us we're a melting pot.
Well, if you read my article closely, you see that I say things very similar to that near the bottom of the piece, that although we are not the same, we are equal, and that is not an attempt of mine at all to say that you cannot enjoy music that was created by Black people. That's not to say that you can't enjoy the things that you like, and there's a very thick line between appropriation and appreciation of the things that maybe some people perceive that Black women do.
Okay, H. Allen, she does make a very good point, and I thought that the crux of her article when she said, but here's the shade. She says, the non-Black people who get to enjoy all of the fun things about Blackness will never have to experience the ugliness of the Black experience, systematic racism, and the dangers of simply living while Black. That's a very cogent point that she is making. Did you understand that? I can't hear him.
I can't hear.
Okay, if he can't hear, there's no point in doing this. So we'll do a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about this. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
It's not just... They never went back to it, of course. It was
no, of course not. And there's a producer who's fired, for sure.
Oh, yeah. She didn't read the piece that he wrote that she was supposed to. That's why he said, why not?
Wow.
And she didn't read the piece. She didn't care. And this other guy wasn't mic'd.
So there's 3 minutes of my life I'll never get back again. Thank you.
Well, I watched it and I had to edit it. I did 9 minutes of my life.
Bingo, boom, boom, chakalaka, boom, 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 chakalaka, boom, boom.
All right, let me slide into some more racial crap then while we're at it.
So did you want me to call you the next time something like this comes so you can witness this in real time?
No.
Anyway, go on.
No. The Supreme Court decision on Hobby Lobby does not sit well at all with the leading Democrats in the United States of Gitmo Nation. Of course, whenever they rule in favor of something, then they're great. But now it's what we heard on Thursday. It's 5 white guys.
Those 5 white guys.
So this continues, this 5 white guy thing, and it's disappointing.
Very racist.
Well, of course it's racist, and it's 100% racist. But for some reason, it doesn't count if you say white guy. It's racist, it's sexist, and the whole idea here is vote for Democrats.
And it's disrespectful.
Vote for Democrats in the 2014 midterm, so we can vote better, so we can elect better Supreme Court justices. I guess we should have all Black women, because that would be the opposite of all white men. And it's incredibly racist. And well, I'm going to play the Chuck Schumer first. Now, he's not typically a racist. He's just a dickhead. And so we know that the ruling of this Hobby Lobby ruling was based 100% on the definition of U.S. persons, which throughout law is corporations. And he's now going to and he's lying. He's completely lying. He's going to separate the issue out by saying corporations, which is also not true because nonprofit corporations are allowed to use the religious refusal based on religious rights. But he's just going to make it sound like corporations in general, and he's really saying corporations are not U.S. persons, which is not how the law was written. But he's setting the agenda for you, and he's lying 100%.
That they should be able to exercise their religious beliefs without interference from the government. The court took that and misapplied it, to for-profit companies who exist for the purpose of benefiting from the open market, working in the marketplace under our laws. Now think of the difference. You're born with a religion or you adopt a religion. You have to obey the precepts of that religion, and the government gives you a wide penumbra. You don't have to form a corporation. We wouldn't tell the owners of Hobby Lobby to convert to a different religion or disobey their religion. But we don't say that they have to open up a company and go sell toys or hobby kits.
He doesn't even know what they sell.
We don't have any of them in
right,
New York.
He thinks it's a toy store.
I don't think so. I don't know what they exactly sell. But the court took the protection and misapplied it. Without a doubt, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act was written to apply only to individuals, not corporations.
Yeah, except no one had a problem with it being applied to nonprofit corporations. So that's just setting an agenda, and the agenda is elect Democrats. And now we have, if you really want to know how messed up this is, here is Pelosi. Now, Pelosi needs to go. At a certain point, how old is she? I don't want to be ageist.
72.
That's not that old, but she's gone.
Yeah, she's had one too many facelifts, and she's a dummy.
I don't mind. I have no problem with facelifts, and I think
I do.
The boob job, I think, is pretty amazing.
I'm not saying, well, she's had the facelift, but she's also Botoxed up.
I don't have a problem with any of that.
I do have a problem with Botox up.
Why? It has nothing.
Because the studies have shown that if you Botox up your face and you can't express certain emotions, you actually cannot feel those emotions.
You're right. We have discussed this on the show, and I will agree with you. But this is not emotions. She's not even using English words at this point. Listen to this.
Really, we should be afraid of this court.
We should be afraid of this court.
We should be afraid of it?
Have we?
Coming over to get us?
Well, it's because it's 5 white guys. Listen up, boy.
Really, we should be afraid of this court.
Hoods?
That 5 guys should start determining what contraceptions are.
Okay. This is not English. That 5 guys should determine what contraceptions women can use? What is there? I don't think the contraceptions is proper in this form, in this...
Probably not. Play the clip.
Really, we should be afraid of this court. That
Why?
5 guys should start determining what contraceptions are legal or not. I mean, let's not even go to that.
Are legal.
It's so stunning. And then, of course, this is more like the Wheaton this decision a few days later, which was also problematic. But, you know, that court decision was a frightening one, that 5 men should get down to the specifics of whether a woman should use a diaphragm and she should pay for it herself or her boss.
Now, this was never the case. It has nothing to do with diaphragm.
By the way, she's 74, not 72. I was wrong.
So this was about 4
I know it's got nothing to do with anything. I don't know what she's talking about.
Well, she's insane. This is the problem with these people. So she said, get rid of the white men. The white men determine if I can have a diaphragm.
It's not her boss's business. His business is whatever his business is, but it's not what contraception she uses. So the court decision is, you know, we're all taken aback by it.
We're taken aback by it.
Yeah, these guys are horrible. This is like the worst kind of propaganda. And they just...
But it's racist, and no one calls it.
It's racist, it's sexist, it's bullshit, and these people just stick a mic in them and they just run these clips. They don't say, I think you're misinterpreting them. They won't even talk to them. There's nobody even talks. There's no discussion here.
But this is her. She has like Carrie, like everybody. She has her weekly little thing. She has her, it may even be more than weekly. And she does a whole press thing. And everyone shows up. And then she just spouts this kind of drivel. Very, very strange. And we have, just shifting gears for a moment, we have... No, screw it. I'm not going to do that now. We'll do that later.
Oh, please.
No.
Okay.
No,
you're editing down.
No. I will do it later. It's just a little too early for it. Okay.
All right. I got nothing on this topic.
I have nothing. I don't have anything either. I kind of should have circled around.
You've been promising drill down here.
I'm going to get to it. I'm just leading into it. I'm getting ready for it.
So I'm watching... watching just, various reports from this and that. The Palestinian thing, which I'll talk about a little later, had this one clip. This every once in a while, people say, well, you guys should do video. We can't do video. We're not going to do video. It's never going to happen. But once in a while, you see a clip that you just say, oh, my God, I just wish we could do video, because I want to play this clip and I'll describe to you what this guy is doing. Just play Palestinian baker.
We can for the whole family.
Demand is currently so high that the bread maker cannot guarantee that he will be able to keep up for very long. He says that he will soon run out of almost everything.
Of course we're scared. The situation is quickly getting worse. There's no fuel, no flour, nothing. All the electricity here is from generators. When that's over, we'll have to close. It's very, very bad.
He is standing in front of what appears to be a mountain of bags of flour.
Okay.
And as he says, if you played it again, there's no flour.
What channel was this on?
CNN.
Oh, well,
it could have been. It may have been Van Cat. I'm not sure. But it was just this guy saying, I'm telling you, there was more flour than I've ever seen. Bags and sacks of it. There's no flour left. They're killing us, these guys.
Okay, so we are now at this point where we've got a lot of feedback, boots on the ground, on all sides about this Israel-Palestine kerfuffle. And it's very interesting. It's very diverse, really, in the responses. Have you seen any of these emails, John? Did you get a hold of some of these that came in?
I didn't get too many. You got most of them.
Most of them say, hey, Adam and John, they just send it to me. So here's... So we asked specifically for some boots on the ground reports. So Bart, Dutch guy living in Tel Aviv. I'm not Jewish, but my wife is from here. Sitting here in the middle of this mess, I can provide you with some opinions on the subject Israel versus Hamas raised in your previous episode. Iron Dome. This is one of the things we've been questioning. Actually only used to protect the bigger cities like Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa. It's expensive to use, so not worth it on the little shitty towns close to the Gaza border. That's why they get hit by dozens of rockets a day. Success rate of the Iron Dome, this is pretty consistent. People say is getting better each day. It's now reaching 90%. And the way it works is Hamas launches these rockets, which, as Bart says, is kind of like a really big firecracker. But it's made of an iron tube with lead, and if this thing falls on your head or your house or your car, it's going to hurt. But it's not really like a huge explosive. So if these things are being shot towards open spaces or where it won't hit anything, then Iron Dome doesn't come into effect. Pretty universal across the board. People are saying that they also really don't even know what this is about. Some say, oh, it's just every year and a half to 2 years it comes back again. Oh, by the way, the U.S. aid to Israel. This comes from Aaron. It says, just so you know, so I guess Israel built the Iron Dome. I thought we built it.
I think it's our technology.
I think it's their technology. And then
we had a long discussion about this about 50 shows ago.
Yeah.
I'll do a little more research.
Sorry, it's not that important.
Well, it is to me.
But what he points out is the $3 billion that everyone says, oh, we're giving $3 billion to Israel. He says, really, he puts it here as it's a $3 billion gift card to spend at Raytheon. It's really just doing a round robin to the U.S. defense industry, which makes sense because that's kind of the only industry that we have. It's what we do. So it's a way for the government to pay for people to eat here in America. Then we just have, and I put all of these into the show notes. So Grebulon reporting in. It's no one has a real definitive opinion on what if this really was started because of kidnapped teenagers, etc., killed teenagers. It just seems like more of the same, except for one general overarching theme that was sent to me. I would say a ratio of 10-1 over people with boots on the ground reports, and that is what I've always understood to be as a real conspiracy theory, but I went way deep on this one. Something known as the Palladian Right. Are you familiar with this?
No, I don't, and I'm waiting to hear about it.
The Palladian Right, which really came into worldview thanks to a certain Albert Pike. Albert Pike, now he goes back to like 1870s, and he apparently... There was a letter from him that was brief. Now, you can't find any of this really if it really happened. Was briefly displayed in the British Museum Library in London. And he spoke about the Palladian Right, in which there would be 3 world wars and 3 attempts to create the New World Order. This is where a lot of this comes from. I'd never really looked into this very deeply, but you'll see it goes back to some interesting people. So the idea was the First World War was to bring the Russians, the Bolsheviks into line. The Second World War, we were supposed to get the Nazis and then introduce socialism and communism. And the Third World War would be the Middle East. It would be complete rubblization of the Jews and the Arabs and the Arabs and the Arabs and the Arabs and the Sunnis and the Shias and everybody, until the whole world would be, that part of the world is supposed to be completely annihilated, rubbleized, and the whole world is so tired of all of this that we then succumb to the idea of a one world government, which is socialist at best, Marxist probably more likely.
All right, well, answer me this.
I got a lot more, but okay.
Well, I mean, if you're going to start throwing all this stuff out, and I'm going to have to, I don't want to go back to it.
Okay.
As you go on,
mm-hmm.
What was this World War I got to do with the Bolsheviks? Which what I think you're trying to say is that World War I created the moment that you could have the communist revolution, and the Bolsheviks could take over Russia. What does that have to do with the by unifying the Russians under that government? I don't see how that's part of any master plan.
Let me read to you verbatim. That might help a little bit. My explanation maybe not. My abbreviated version may not be that good. The First World War was to be fought so as to enable the powers of to overthrow the powers of the czars in Russia and turn that country into the stronghold of atheistic communism. And then communism was to be built up and used to destroy governments and weaken religions. Then we have World War II, which was to foment the differences between fascists and political Zionists. This is from Albert Pike's writing, and he sent a lot of his writings and information to a certain Colonel House, who eventually got the United States involved in these world wars. Now, when you read about this, there's two more steps back, and eventually it all comes down to one guy, Cecil Rhodes. But in between there's H.G. Wells. And H.G. Wells, he kind of picked up where Albert Pike left off. And I've heard a lot about Wells, but I've never really looked into his background, because so many people quote him like he was some philosopher. But basically, the guy was just a science fiction writer, the way I see it.
So was L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, okay, good point. But a lot of people would hang out with him and would listen to what he had to say. And of course, he wrote War of the Worlds, which showed, along with Orson Welles, showed how easily the public could be convinced of these things, which is a famous episode, the famous radio broadcast of War of the Worlds. And then when you delve a little bit deeper into Wells, you see that he really is building on, and this is the Mac Daddy, Cecil Rhodes. And
the founder of Rhodesia, if I'm not mistaken.
The founder of Rhodesia. And so I knew the founder of Rhodesia part, I knew that, but I never really, and of course the Rhodes Scholarship. That's pretty much all you know, right? But this guy, he really, now he was at one point, I think he was one of the richest people in the world. Of course, South Africa. I guess he became the chairman of the De Beers Mining Company. But he, in his memoirs, and he often spoke about putting together a secret society, and this secret society would be essentially, Freemasons and the Skull and Bones. And he always wished that he would have some kind of he wrote often of some form of message that he could put out there so that they would know that something was going on, something was up, which to me I immediately think of 33. But at his death, one of the wealthiest men in the world, his will was unveiled, and the exact wording from his will was that he wished to and for the establishment, promotion, development of a secret society, the true aim and object whereof shall be for the extension of British rule throughout the world. He was a complete, Britain has to rule everything, and it'll use America to do it. The perfecting of a system of emigration from the United Kingdom and of colonization by British subjects of all lands where the means of livelihood are attainable by energy, labor, and enterprise, and especially the occupation by British settlers of the entire continent of Africa, the Holy Land, the valley of the Euphrates, the island of Cyprus in Canada, the whole of South America, the islands of the Pacific not heretofore possessed by Great Britain, and the whole of the Malay archipelago, the seaboard of China and Japan, the ultimate recovery of the United States of America as an integral part of the British Empire. And I believe this is where our special relationship comes from. And Russ Baker, who we like a lot, he wrote, was it The Family of Secrets?
Right.
And he has
an excellent book.
And he's a good journalist. So he's writing about, he has this article from 2013 about Cecil Rhodes, and then, turns out that his great-grandson or his grandson, also a Rhodes, comes out of nowhere to become President Obama's foreign policy speechwriter. And so, and he really opens up quite an interesting history to how Cecil Rhodes really is the architect of this whole New World Order idea. And that's what the secret society, the Skull and Bones, is all supposed to be about. And it comes back consistently in modern day politics, such as the red line. And this is actually, where President Obama said, "We've got a red line." That comes from Rhodes. And he always spoke about wanting British dominions denoted in red lines, which is how they drew it on the map. So all of this stuff, everything comes back to Rhodes. And whenever you have the Rhodes scholars, it's always portrayed as
Clinton.
Yeah, right. It's always the brightest and the best, but it's not. Bill Clinton was a Rhodes scholar, so we know it's not the smartest people in the world.
Well, I'm going to stop you here before you to bring something up.
Okay.
Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, dated August 15th, 1871.
Yeah.
First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia, and blah, blah, blah. He goes on about that. Okay, we can maybe think that there was... I'll just buy into that. Second paragraph, or whatever it is. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This is 1871. Mm-hmm. The word fascist does not exist before 1903. How did he write this?
I don't know.
I think it's a concoction.
It could be. I'm just telling you, this is what I wound up with. And when I'm coming up to Russ Baker writing about this stuff, not specifically about that letter, and yes, I've seen it used specifically, like he predicted these wars and all. And believe me, I'm not that gullible. But you can't deny that the Rhodes meme has been around for a long time, and it has not quit. And a lot of modern day politics seem to be based on it. And the idea, if you follow it through, the idea of a third world war rubbleizing all of the Middle East, this is where I'm coming from. I do see some of this playing out. And eventually everyone wanting to move towards a complete Marxist/socialist system, I see nothing but evidence of that. We have complete cultural Marxism, no bullying, inequality. We have, in the United States, we have minimum wage. The main thing for these guys, for the Rhodesians, for the Rhodes scholars, as it is written, is to remove sovereignty. The one thing that Rhodes thought need to be removed from every country, every continent on the planet, and should, of course, become the British Empire, was sovereignty. And that's exactly what's happening in Europe. The sovereignty of nations is being taken away.
Yes, and if, as a matter, I'm going to let you go on this before I complain more. But and I'm only going to say, well, I'm not going to even do that criticism. But the sovereignty thing is interesting because you'll talk to a lot of people from Europe now that are French, and you ask them where they're from. They often will say Europe.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of pro.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
No, there's a lot of pro-Europeanism. And I have 2 clips to kind of accentuate what I'm talking about. It's easy enough to show what's going on in the United States of Gitmo Nation with very obvious, the anti-bullying laws is very obvious attack on First Amendment. Don't have to talk about Second Amendment. We've got people saying, "I'm a rule follower, please." I mean, that kind of proves how far we've come.
No,
I'm a rule follower, so
Huh?
Very poignant.
Yeah.
I'd say the rule following clip, which you should play again, is extremely poignant.
I'm going to play it right now.
Play it.
Yeah, just
so we
I'm a
just
rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Now, besides that someone actually said this, it's being propagated on the telescreen. That's the big part. Now, I'm going to play this little clip. This is from last week in the EU, and I believe this was in Strasbourg. You tell me what this sounds like. Any idea?
Sounds like I don't know, it's just some marching group.
This is members of Eurocorps, which is the European army we would never see, raising the European flag in a military ceremony.
Wow.
I mean, it was really, I had Europeans send this to me saying, I'm sick to my stomach. The Eurocorps, C-O-R-P-S, Eurocorps, in a military ceremony, saluting the EU flag. And this comes on the same day that we have this statement from François Brunagel, head of protocol at the European Parliament. And we're going to talk about, we're going to listen to a true European technocrat removing sovereignty from all of these individual countries and how we have turned this into the EU and what we have that goes along with that.
I'm curious as a French person, as a European, what's the situation with these symbols? There's a flag, an anthem, but what for? We have this anthem that no one sings. We have this flag that flies, but it's not clear what it...
This is a question from the audience for the head of protocol.
...stands for. So what good are these symbols if we don't use them? You must know that immediately after the election of the European Parliament in 1979, the Parliament, which represents the people of Europe, they wanted it to have symbols, like all states have symbols. In other words, a flag and an anthem. There was a prolonged debate, and finally, in 1986, they decided to adopt not a new flag, but the flag that had been created in the early 1950s by the Council of Europe. Because there are not two Europes, just one single and equal Europe at various stages of integration. And then later they adopted the European anthem, i.e. the last movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy. Then there are other symbols which were subsequently adopted, notably a currency for Europe, United in Diversity, which was adopted in 2001. And I think that with that, the citizen has something to recognize through these symbols.
Citizen!
We have the European passport, and for those who are fortunate enough to have it, also the euro. On the 9th of May in Strasbourg, the European Parliament will celebrate the 25th anniversary of the adoption of the flag and the anthem. First by raising the flag of European colours in the presence of Eurocorps, the multinational army of Europe, and then a concert during which the European anthem will be played.
So there we have it. We have the flag, we have the money, we have the slogan, we have the Beethoven tune. By the way, members of the UKIP party turn their back, because it's played every morning in Parliament. They play the anthem, and everyone stands. And now, the members of European Parliament have been encouraged by the Office of Protocol to wear the official sash of the European Parliament when they are in Parliament. And this is one of those, like royalty have, John?
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. The azure European sash emblazoned with the 12 stars of the EU flag.
Can we get one?
No, you have to be an MEP, although there is a store you can buy one. A circle of 12 golden mullets.
I'm going to start wearing it when we do the show.
So let me see what the, if you look for, if you Google...
You said there's a European mullet?
No, it's the 12 golden mullets, which are for the 12 stars. You got to see this thing. You have to Google European Parliament sash. And it's blue. It's very handsome. It's blue. It has gold little tapered thingies. And you wear that like, over your shoulder. Over your shoulder. like a sword, like a sword holder.
Scabbard.
A scabbard. And this is your politicians in Europe. So
I want one of these.
I think we should
around town. Go to San Francisco. We should go to the opera with this.
We should be giving these away to our knights. This is is fabulous. This is really beautiful. Now, while I'm watching this ceremony with the people in the politicians in their sashes with Eurocorps, remember, everyone was so worried. We don't want a European army. Well, Eurocorps is the European army. You have it. You voted for it because you are represented, citizens, apparently.
Price is £107 at epsash.eu.
Yes. Handsome looking, aren't they?
EPSASH.eu.
As I'm looking at this ceremony going on, I see banners everywhere in all of the different languages. And it's 3 words: act, react, impact. Act, react, impact. This is the slogan for the European Parliament. And it immediately reminded me of something, but I first want to play their little promo from their EU page about act, react, and impact. It is, and this is one of those moments where video would be helpful, but the audio is creepy enough.
Begin. End. Win. Lose. Hold on. Move on. Think global. Think local. Dream. Wake up. Agree. Disagree. Think big. Think small. Change. Never change. Love. Hate. Forgive. Never forget. Look back. Look ahead. We all face many choices and many issues. We all have our own views. But in Europe, every opinion gets a fair chance. The decisions of the European Parliament are driven by everything that matters to you. You have the power to decide. The European Parliament. Act. React. Impact.
So when I read these words, act, react, impact, I immediately think of the Hegelian dialect. Or dialectic, I should say. You familiar with this? The Hegelian dialectic?
I know I'm familiar with Hegel.
Yes. So Hegel, yes. Wow. There you go. Hegel said problem, reaction, solution, which is exactly how the slaves are controlled. So you create a problem, you have the reaction, and you hand the ready-made solution, and everybody's happy. And this happens over and over and over again. This is how we are controlled. And when the EU has act, react, impact, that comes really close. That comes really close to just being...
Do they explain what this is supposed to mean in their
No.
They just keep saying it?
Just keep saying it over and over. And did you heard all the dichotomies? War, peace, love, hate,
yeah,
win,
I know. And then
lose.
it was also think... I thought the big one to me was think local, think global. When the normal thing is think...
Global, act local.
I mean, they didn't have act global, act local. They left that out. But they have just think this, think big, think small. What is this bull crap?
Well,
where did you get that?
I got it right from the EU website.
They're crazy. They must be stopped.
You will obey.
Yes.
You will obey.
No, and they're wearing sashes, John. They're wearing sashes. They've got an army. They're raising the flag. They're saluting the flag. They've got this problem reaction solution.
This is a bloodless coup.
Well, yeah, this is why I bring it up. And if you, regardless of if it really was Cecil Rhodes or if it was Albert Pike or whatever,
I think I've now concluded the Pike thing is bullshit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but the Rhodes guy, he was a troublemaker. But what was he doing in Rhodesia? I mean, he should have been doing some. Well, I don't know, but he wanted to.
Well, he was from South Africa.
Take over the place.
Yeah. Well, of course, he was running the diamonds. I mean, come on. these nothing has changed. It's still the richest people in the world running the show.
Yeah, they don't want people stealing their stuff.
Yes, but
so they put together these schemes to keep everyone to keep them caged, keep the animals caged, and they won't bite you.
Time Magazine had an opinion poll, and it's published as an article called "The Secret Language of Millennials." And the bottom line is 53% of the millennials, that's 18.
This would include mostly the hipsters, by the way.
18 to 25, I think, is born between.
It's moving up, so it's pushing 30.
78% really like socialism. Although a very small percentage can actually just explain what it is, but equality, right to housing, all the things that have been pumped into their little brains.
Oh, yeah, no, there's a lot of we can talk about this anytime because I have two of them living in the house.
Well, I have one living not in the house.
Well, you don't get to hear from her as much as I do.
Karl Marx wrote about outcome-based education, which is essentially the charter schools that are now being financed by the very companies that are training the people to be on the assembly line. It is an outcome-based Common Core. Yes.
You talked about it, that, these are lead right to a job with Motorola.
Yeah. In Chicago, right from the charter school, which is sponsored by Motorola. And this is part of the Communist Manifesto.
Bill Gates is behind Common Core to such an extreme.
Yes. So whether Pike is bullcrap or not,
well, I don't think Pike's even important. I think it's a distraction to what's going on.
Could be.
Because it's just some, it just looks like it was back engineered to
make it fit.
To be honest about it, I don't even know what the point of this Pike thing is.
Well, the point is he wrote
this guy. Let's just bring in Nostradamus and
no. I didn't bring in Nostradamus. No, but the point of Pike is that this would be the thinking is, and I just got a lot of email from people about it. That's why I bring it up, and that's why I researched it. The thinking is that what is happening now in the Middle East, which no one can really explain because they're so tired of it, is whether written and published in a letter once in the British Museum in London or not. I could not find verification of that. So that is the weak part of that whole theory. In that letter he wrote about
not to mention the use of the word fascism in 1871.
I'm with
that's
you.
The weak part.
I'm with you. But the concept being 3 world wars, and after the third one, we would have so we had the League of Nations, the United Nations.
Honestly, that Pike thing just bothered. I think it ruins your argument.
But it's only where I started.
Except for Pike. I know that got you started, but then you could have cut the caboose loose once you did a little more research on that guy. That's phony, that Pike thing.
Okay.
That is just bullshit.
Well, H.G. Wells and Cecil Rhodes, those are the two who are who have determined a lot of the policy of the elite, who essentially the elite, i.e. rich people, just boneheads. It's all inbred nincompoops. Who was I was talking? I was talking the other day. I think it was Dave and Melissa who were here.
People, I just should mention, people. One of the great things about going to museums is you get to see a lot of paintings that were done in the 1600s and 1700s, especially the 1600s, where you had great artists who were required to, because they needed patronage, so they usually worked for one of the kings or royalty, especially the really great artists. Right. And they would paint. I was at some museum recently. They had to paint all the kids. And they had to paint the family. And they had to have and there are some
fat turd kids, those moronic looking kids.
Just look at them. This is the dumbest kid. And you have to assume they made them look smarter than they are. There is a couple of famous paintings where there's a whole family and there's one moronic little girl that looks like she's, I don't know what she looks like. She just looks like the idiot of the decade, standing there with this pathetic dress on. It's just that there's a lot of this. I think these people were so stupid that they didn't even notice that there was a moment of ridicule.
But here's the weird thing. In many, many of these very countries in Europe, and I've lived in several of them, there are people who are in these countries who have huge houses gated in the middle of the city, and wear crowns and medals and uniforms, and they have golden chariots that with horses that draw them around, and people stand on the sidelines and go, "Oh, hello to the queen or the king or the prince," and then have the audacity to say, "Oh no, that's just tradition. They don't really have any power."
Yeah, I know that bothers me too. Actually, I was probably, before we started doing this show and you started to point out that they do have power.
They've got massive power.
They got tons of power. That's why they can control that much, those purse strings that allow them to live in these great places.
And when the Queen of England goes to Scandinavia to approve of the new cabinet,
which she has to do.
Yeah, and then people say, "Oh, that's just a formality. It's cute." Bullcrap. It's written in the law. And she can do all kinds of stuff.
And she does.
Yes. But people have been so brainwashed to not see the idiocy. I remember going to the palace.
Makes it even if you think about it, it makes it even funnier to have all this power and then create this bullcrap that they
don't have power.
Yet you've got I'm just one of the people. But I get to wear the crown because it's just a representative. It's just for tourists.
And I get to.
I'm a tourist attraction.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And that's what they're good. I've heard it said that way. Oh no, the royal family is good. People come to London to see the palace. Bull crap, I say. And now the European Parliament. Now they're getting a little closer because they get to wear a sash. You see, these symbols are very, very important. And you see someone walking with a sash, and you're like, "Oh,
I'm going to get a sash and tear it to the..." I'm telling you.
We're getting sashes.
Let's go. I'll have the sash. I'll wear it to to the restaurant. And I'll bet you the waiters defer to me.
I think we should make it a fashion statement. Everybody should have a sash. It should be the new fashion thing. It'll be a wearable. If we call it wearable, everyone will want one. Yes.
Yeah, we have to put some electronics in it.
My sash. Google Now can talk to my sash. If you call it a wearable, it's a winner.
I'd like to have those sash, a wearable with some electronics, and then have it spell stuff out across my chest
with the LED.
Listen to the No Agenda show, and then goes off. Yeah.
So anyway,
blue LEDs, by the way.
So I thought it was kind of fun to just go all the way back and look at the connections, and really it is Rhodes and his secret society and Yale specifically, that really you start to see that there is a group of people and they recognize each other by either by family or like the royalty or by
sash
by association.
There's also the neckties. Each one that you can go to. There's a store in London that has these. Every private public, every public school. Yeah. Which is a private school in our country.
Has a specific,
it has a regimental tie.
Yes, absolutely.
And you wear the tie, and people from that school can recognize you. So I bought 2 or 3 of them.
Like Princeton. Princeton has an ugly orange-ass tie.
Yeah, it's a crappy looking thing. Yeah. But you want to wear Exeter. I think Exeter is one of the pretty ones, or Cambridge. Yeah. All the universities have them. And so you just wear them around town as an American. And it just confuses them because apparently it's not something you should do.
No. But the sash,
some sort of a violation.
The sash is a winner. Now, so I'm just saying that besides our obvious pipeline view on things, which is there's always that angle, I do see a bigger overarching idea, which is specifically named as the New World Order, a new organization. Every single president has said it. It's always been discussed, and it really does involve shutting the slaves up. And I think they're much further than they even realize. And people are all in. Look at the millennials. Oh, yeah, no, wage equality. Just everything's got to be, our packets have to be equal. Now we have the British Dance Society. Everyone's up in arms because the British, I follow dance. So Mickey and I dance once a week. Now they want to allow same-sex partners in competition ballroom dancing. And
sound right.
Well, I'm all for it, except I want at least one of the partners to wear a dress. I don't care if what same sex.
It's kind of boring if they did two guys dancing with the woman in the fabulous dress.
Yeah, spinning.
Use the word fabulous in that regard.
You did.
It's just really spectacular, and the guy's throwing her around. She's spinning.
But there's also
when you got two guys, it's just ludicrous.
Well, I saw the 2000. There's a video, the 2012 ballroom same-sex ballroom dancing competition. And it is boring. There's nothing twirling with little. Someone's got to wear a dress, and you can have two women dancing. There's competition for them as well. Someone's got to wear a suit. I don't care. It doesn't look right. Anyway, so you get that. You get all kinds.
That kind of bull crap is what you're saying.
Yes, all of this stuff. Minimum wage. But the rule followers. I have a right to this self-righteousness.
Well, this is because these kids were raised in an awkward era.
In the schooling system.
And the schooling system brainwashed them.
Yes.
And so we have a situation with my son who's got a good job working in a high-tech company writing JavaScript. So he says that he's lost all his friends.
Oh, really?
Because none of them work.
No.
And they hate him because he's working. He's making a lot of money.
Hey, douchebag.
Hey, douchebag, you're actually working for the man.
Hey, what's next? You're going to be wearing a sash? Wow.
So there's this millennial group is pretty weird, and they're very strange about what they buy. They like to buy, organic. Everything's got to be organic. It says organic.
As long as it says organic on the box, right?
It's got to say organic someplace.
Yeah.
And they won't touch anything other than that. And but they also match up well with a liberal Berkeley type of person.
Oh yeah.
Who are the guys who will be at the counter digging for the 1 penny so they can get the exact change, or the people that don't realize that 90% of those little card swiping devices, once they ring up the first sale, you can now swipe your card and put in all the information. So when they're done ringing up your stuff, you just push the button and you're out. You don't have to start from scratch when they're done like these people do. Oh, okay, you're done? You got it all? And then they swipe their card there at the end, and we have to sit around and wait for these idiots to finish. And then they're always looking down. They're lifting their glasses, dropping their glasses back down, lifting their glasses, punching the no cash back, lifting their glasses, dropping their glasses.
No cash back.
And then just an hour goes by.
I hate those people who don't get cash back.
And then I hate that they ask if you want cash back. What do you want cash back for? That's why you're using the card. So anyway, meanwhile, they have to, they got everything is held up because of this, and then they have to pack their bags in these grimy old Trader Joe's bags that look like the dog slept in them, and they're stuffing these vegetables and fruits in those dirty bags, and then off they go with their backpack. Here's another thing. So people are sitting around there, you go there, and they got a backpack on in the store. Why? And they're bumping you. They move left, they move right. It's like a guy with a big long log or something, knocking everybody over, knocking vegetables off the shelf with a backpack. Why are people wearing these backpacks? Are they hiking into the mountains?
And they got a backpack, and then they have the kid pack in the front.
Well, that's for balance.
Wow, John, I didn't know you were really so mad about this.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else you want to get?
I barely really. That's why I stay in the house most of the time. I go out and I'm seeing this. I'm just going, you idiots.
Oh, when with that?
Swipe your card.
And with that, well, we should just do it.
John C. Dvorak's Pet Peeve of the Day.
And thank you for your courage. And in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
Adam Curry in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to everyone in the chat room, noagendastream.com, listening to the stream, which is booming out coast to coast. And in the morning to our artists, thank you very much, 20-watt bulb, for the artwork for episode 633. You wanted to say something about the art, John.
I did?
I wrote it down that you were going to say something to the artists.
Oh, yeah. I want to thank you, artists, for doing all the hard work. No, I think it's...
I thought you were going to give some
guidelines. What I was gonna
say. You went guidelines? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, this is why we should never talk.
Well, I want to say, here's something interesting. I mean, I have this on the to-do list for today's show.
Okay.
I put this on here, and you tell me what it means. And here's what the thing says. It says to do. This is for the because at the end of the last show, I said, we were talking and we do a postmortem on the show.
Is this written on a Post-it note?
No, it's in the red book.
In the red book, okay.
And so I wrote down to do. Talk about PBS Arrow call to action, which is the call to action thing.
Yes.
So I guess we didn't talk about that. Okay, we'll talk about
it. I wrote it down though.
Okay, well let's get on with. Let me thank some people.
Please do.
And by the way,
wait.
So we have the mystery's been solved, by the way.
Okay.
About the Black Knight we had the other day. And then we had a guy wrote in, and Eric and I are working on this.
This is the guy who said Miss Knighthood? Is that the one?
Miss Knighthood.
Yeah.
Okay. Both these people, it turns out,
are the same person.
No, they're two different people. And they managed to, I don't know where they even found the link to the old account that I only really run once a month to just add some numbers to our bottom line.
Why do we have an old account? Why do we have two accounts? What happened?
The original account, when we began the show, was kind of a quick thing. We didn't have a no agenda checking account. We didn't have a fictitious business name. We were just doing this, and I just sent the money to my account.
You might want to explain fictitious business name. A lot of Europeans are going, what?
In the United States, if you are not a person named No Agenda and you don't have a birth certificate named No Agenda, you have to fight. And if you're a corporation named No Agenda, it's fictitious. There's no entity that exists that's No Agenda. There's no, it just doesn't exist. So you have to file a report with the government, and it's called a fictitious business name document, where you are, John, in our case, it's the two of us, John C. Dvorak and Adam Curry, are the No Agenda show.
Oh.
And
cool.
so we become it's a fictitious business name because it doesn't exist. If it was just Adam Curry doing business as Adam Curry, you don't need to file anything.
Right.
I have to file one for the John C. Dvorak Company, which is just adding the word company. There's no person named that.
Do you provide contraceptive birth control health care for your employees?
I don't have. I don't have enough. I have no employees. So here we go. So we had to do that, and then we got the checking account, all the rest. So then, as soon as I did that, we moved it over to the PayPal account. But we'd already started getting a lot of donations.
I'm sorry I asked.
And so they go there, but the links to that old thing should have been long gone. We're looking into how these.
We can contact Google and ask. We have a right to be forgotten in Europe.
Yeah. Well, whatever. So we do have a few people to thank for show 634.
Citizens of Depot Nation, please rise to recognize another contribution from the Grand Duke of USA himself, David Bowie!
Yes, the Grand Duke.
So, Sir David Foley starts us off with 333.33. ITM gentlemen, thank you for your courage and continued analysis not found anywhere else. Please share some of the great No Agenda karma.
Absolutely. And I had written it down, and I promptly forgot about it until last night, and he now has his podcast license. Which
good for him.
Any Duke would need that, I think. It's important.
You've got karma.
Thank you very much, Sir David Foley, Grand Duke of the United States.
A loan check came in the mail from Gordon B. Fedoriw. Fedoriw. He's in Cary, North Carolina. He's written us in the past, but I haven't gotten an email or anything from him since 2013. And he's in for 333.33.
With no other information.
With no information. Maxwell Thin, one of our... the guy went in the wrong side of the back door, came in through the back door, and now he's a knight.
He's our back door,
but
man.
He's a black knight.
Nice.
So I don't know if you got to put that down because we missed him.
Sir Inside Job?
And he'll be so inside jobs.
Okay.
And then he puts examples, 9/11, Club 33. Right on the same kind of cosmic level.
Exactly.
9/11, Club 33 burning to the ground. 3/18/34. Jason Wall in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, $250. He'll be associate executive producer. In the morning to you, John and Adam, and thank you for your courage. Jay Wall here, emailing you from the Scandinavian city of Regina, Saskatchewan, the city that rhymes with fun. I'm happy to say I have finally made the transition from boner to donor in support of the best podcast in the universe. I have been listening since episode 505 during the Boston Bomber fiasco, when a friend of mine introduced me to you and your 6-week cycle analysis. Ever since, I've watched in awe as time and time again you call, sometimes to the day, the next terrorist plot to be foiled by the FBI. I have to say that your Red Book has much better track record for accurate prediction than a certain seed seller I used to listen to.
Nostradamus?
Nostradamus the seed man. Unfortunately, I now have the distasteful duty of calling out Mr. Kendall and Mr. Robert as douchebags.
Douchebag.
For listening for years and still allowing me to beat them to the donation segment. He wants an original, by the way. I think some people would prefer the original to the redo.
Oh.
The original Bingo Boom Shakalaka Shut Up Slave 2 to the Head combo.
He wants an
some karma.
Well, I like all, but I have so many. This is a meme. I'll play the original as the last in a set of 3. And then he wants Shut Up Slave 2 to the Head.
Boom shakalaka, go right there. Bingo boom boom shakalaka, boom 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 shakalaka, boom boom. Bingo boom shakalaka.
Shut up, slave.
You've got karma.
I just love all the remixes. Most requested sound file. People will love it as their ringtone. The Bingo Boom Shakalaka.
Okay. Sir Dr. Sharkey in Jackson, Tennessee, $202. $200.02, I'm sorry. Dear John C. Dvorak and Adam Douche named Ben Curry.
Douche? He doesn't say douche.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
Dude named Ben.
My human resource is learning to drive. Please give the entire No Agenda family some Don't Eat Me Hillary and Karma for Protection. Feel free to add any other clips you think appropriate to help protect the population in general. As usual, you guys have been providing stellar insight and commentary regarding the various major world events that have been planted by the CIA, NSA, KGB, etc. As long as I have you two, I have hope for change.
Aww.
ITM, thanks for your courage. Dr. Sharkey is the Viscount and protector of the Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee Valley.
All right. All right. Be careful out there.
If you see something, say something.
Eat me, Hillary Clinton.
You've got karma.
Nice.
Okay, onward.
As it turns out, there are 1 or 2 television shows currently in rotation, which I have not seen, where there actually are IT guys named Ben or Benjamin.
It's probably a common name amongst the IT folk.
I guess.
Anyway, that's all we have for show, by the way, 6:34. And I want to remind people we do have a show coming up on Thursday. Hopefully we'll do a little better. And that would be Dvorak.org/NA to help us out.
And quick PR mention, the No Agenda single mix that I mentioned 2 shows ago is now on iTunes. You can pick that up. Link in the show notes under the PR segment. These are real credits that we hand out. And by the way, when you're a knight, it's no different than having a knighthood from the Queen. And we can have sashes pretty soon. And these are accepted wherever credits are valid. And unlike the phonies in Hollywood, when someone wants to know if you really were an executive producer or an associate executive producer on the best podcast in the universe, have them call me or have them call John.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy to tell you that it's exactly that way.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Now, of course, we always need people to go out there, spread the word, and propagate the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order. Murder! Shut up, slave.
We didn't have a Merkel yet.
We have a Merkel now.
we have
Merkel!
Oh, we have another one, too.
Satan!
That's mine.
I don't know what you've started, John.
I like Hogan. It all began with the Hogan's Heroes reference. But if it wasn't, now what's the name of our guy that's doing all the shouting?
That is John Fletcher.
He has such a beautiful shouting voice.
Koch brothers!
that is not. It's just he could get work doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's got exposure.
Definitely. So it wasn't me, actually. I came up with the idea. I requested for somebody to do a Putin one.
No,
I believe it was
you said you were very specific. You said it had to be like Hogan's Heroes, where he says Hogan. It was supposed to be Putin. And he nailed it.
He nailed it, and then it became like great. I mean, I didn't expect it to be that good. I just thought it was going to be something that comes and goes. But no, it's one of our new show memes. The shouting guy.
Yeah. It just never ends. He's my favorite.
LIFO!
LIFO.
Okay.
I love it.
Back to the show.
Yeah.
So obviously, I was hanging out with Eric, and we're watching. There was a France 24 thing that they were doing on fresh camel's milk, and I was going to clip it. I just said, this is ridiculous, but Eric started doing some research
on fresh.
And apparently, this is the next superfood. And we found that
wait a minute.
We have to go get it.
No.
Let me read you. This is a list that we've discovered. That is claims of health benefits. It's supposed to be the healthiest milk. It's closest to mother's milk. They like to drink it in the Arab countries. And of course, then there's the kicker to this little thing. I'm just going to read the list of things it cures. It cures autism spectrum disorder.
Oh.
It cures various cancers. It cures diabetes type 1, somehow type 1. I don't know how that works. And type 2 and gestational AIDS. I mean, gestational diabetes. It also cures AIDS.
Of course.
It cures MERS, the Middle Eastern syndrome. It cures coronary heart disease.
I thought the MERS people were getting MERS from kissing their camel. Isn't that how it starts in the first place?
I don't know. You got to suck the camel's tit.
Teat, I think. I think we call it teat.
Teat. Coronary heart disease, tuberculosis, and the kicker, Crohn's disease. And then there's a little thing he dug up while doing research casually. Some articles point to camel urine as also containing some medical benefits, and this is only in India.
This is magical.
Where apparently the Indians, who never donate to the show except the one guy,
I think we
drink
have two now.
urine. Just reporting. Don't attack the messenger.
Now, and what's interesting is that I avoided the story that was circulating for the past 2 weeks about human semen being a superfood. I'm like, I'm not going to bring that up on the show. And now you have to come up with the camel milk.
How did you resist?
It was not hard. It's just stupid.
Well, that's the point.
It's stupid. There's so many stupid. It's like this.
We're going to try the camel milk anyway.
Here's a really stupid one. So did you see that global warming or climate change is causing kidney stones?
Yeah.
And there was a true research done. Of course, this is causation. It was very easy to say, well, there's all kinds of things that go along with climate change data. But the daily mean temperature rising shows that in the future, according to the models, we will see more people with kidney stones. And they go into how horrific it is to pass a kidney stone. And this was taken pretty seriously. It's a serious report. I mean, who did this report?
I remember reading one guy wrote, now there shows there should be no debate because the guy goes, he says, now the Republicans can suffer.
It's the national.
They're in denial. As if they're the only ones that are going to get kidney stones. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah,
drink water. Drink wine.
Environmental Health Perspectives. This is part of NIH. And it's one of their reports. Yeah, this is
global warming.
Well, there's a couple things going on in Britain. Let's see. Unless the green balance improves, according to engineers in cahoots with the governmental organizations, the Department for Energy and Climate Change. That's nice, isn't it? They have a Department of Energy and Climate Change, DECC. Britain will face blackouts unless the green balance improves.
Why?
It's not true. It's just a scam.
No, it is true if you turn off the power.
Yeah.
What they did to us in California.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
They screwed us. We've never had blackouts in our lives. And then this Enron scam begins.
So it's essentially,
it's
a threat. It's a threat is what it is.
Yeah. The next thing you know, the power goes off. Oh, it's going to be. In fact, here's another one. This is during this era. This is when we had our Gray Davis, who was governor of California. I remember the whole thing. We started with the rolling blackouts. Oh, shit, the power is off. And be off for a couple hours and come back on. And this would go on for weeks and weeks. And then the thing that was on the news, people are going to have to get used to rolling blackouts in California. There's no end in sight. It will be part of day-to-day life in California, blackouts. And then, of course, the scam broke. There was a scam. It was just an out-and-out scam. Gray Davis was recalled, and Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor, or governator, as he like to call himself. And then, magically, there hasn't been a blackout since. Unless somebody hits a telephone pole with a truck. So what was that all about? And all the media was all in. Oh, no, we're going to have blackouts now for the rest of our lives. Our children are going to have to get used to it.
Well, I found something in relation to this that it gave me some pause about the communication and how essentially the messengers have gotten themselves in a bind. So here's what we have on the table. We have the first, we had global warming, so it's AGW, anthropogenic global warming, so man-made, which turns to climate change. Of course, we're about to have another polar vortex, which is caused by global warming, so it gets really cool. We have a severe risk of attacks on our power grids, which has never happened squirrels beat out power grids more than terrorists do. A number of very concerning things. And I got this report, which comes indirectly via NASA, NOAA. I don't think it's one of their reports, about the Earth's magnetic field. And once every, I don't know, like 30, I'm sure it's 33,000 years or some magic number like that, the poles flip.
Yeah.
Put the polarization of the Earth, the magnetic polarization. And this is not really explained to anyone. I don't think they probably don't even teach it in school anymore. Remember when we were kids, we got a gyroscope? We played with it for a long time, for hours and hours, the gyroscope. Do they still give kids gyroscopes to play with?
I don't think kids are allowed to have gyroscopes. They're too dangerous.
It could hurt them. So
they could try to swallow it.
So imagine you have the knowledge that the Earth's magnetic field is weakening in places, which can lead to all sorts of things, such as perhaps a rise in temperature and other issues, and you need to create a story around it. You already have this climate change thing, so you can't really communicate that because of the magnetic weakening that's going to cause outages of electronic devices, so you have to make up cyber attacks, etc.
Earth's outer layer that protects us from solar radiation blasts is reportedly weakening 10 times faster than scientists thought it would. The European Space Agency's 3-satellite Swarm constellation has revealed Earth's magnetic field is rapidly weakening, with the biggest decline in strength occurring over the Western Hemisphere. Scientists are not 100% sure why the area is weakening at such a fast rate, but the shift is a pretty big deal.
The Earth's magnetic field has shielded the planet from the sun's deadly radiation for billions of years, enabling life to take hold and flourish.
There is some good news, though. In areas over the Indian Ocean, the magnetic field has actually strengthened. Scientists believe the weakening might indicate that Earth's magnetic poles are getting ready to flip, which happens once every 300,000 years or so. No evidence shows that the poles flipping has caused any harm to life on Earth, but it could affect power grids and communication satellites.
There you go.
Ow.
Okay.
Whatever the case is, there was a really good, I think, in-depth and probably fairly accurate NOVA on this phenomenon. And this weakening thing is like, it fluctuates when it's going to flip. It just goes, it gets stronger than weaker and then stronger. And it does, and you have pockets of strength here around it. It becomes a mess.
Yeah.
And it's, and they think that if it just in a pre-flip mode, it could get so weak that we'd get the Aurora Borealis across the whole country, the whole world.
Right, but it would also potentially raise temperatures, I presume. If
I don't think so. I never heard
weakens.
that. No.
No?
It's just really about the cosmic rays. That's the problem.
Just those pesky cosmic rays. No.
Whatever. Yeah.
I had a chance to read Senate Bill 2588, which has been placed on the calendar by Dianne Feinstein, who is of course, the chair of the Select Committee on Intelligence. This is the bill. This is the cyber. What are we calling it? The Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2014. Finally, we have something that is written down as of July 10th, 2014. And it's very telling as to where the United States of Gitmo Nation is going to go in terms of cyber and spying. And I think it's actually a very brilliant move. And I would like to share that with you, John.
I would like you to share it with me.
So this is the short title of the Act, Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2014. It applies to the federal entities. Now, what's important about this particular bill is the definitions. So they have words in here like appropriate federal entities. The term appropriate federal entities means the following: Department of Commerce, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, Department of the Treasury, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Then they have things like countermeasure. The term countermeasure means an action, device, procedure, technique, or other measure applied to an information system or information that is stored on, processed by, or transiting an information system that prevents or mitigates a known or suspected cybersecurity threat or security vulnerability. That's pretty broad. And then what is an actual threat? The term cybersecurity threat means an action not protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States on or through an information system that may result in an unauthorized effort to adversely impact the security, availability, confidentiality, or integrity of an information system or information that is stored on, processed by, or transiting an information system. So you understand kind of the depth that they're going to.
I would hope somebody would sue all these advertisers who use cookies once this bill is passed.
Well, it's
Sounds
actually
to me.
These are the definitions. In fact, it is exactly the opposite, John. Now I need to give you the definite. It's exactly the opposite, and I'll tell you how it works. Then we have the cyber threat indicator. This means information that is necessary to indicate, describe, or identify, and then there's a number of things here, like malicious reconnaissance, a method of defeating security, security vulnerability, I'm paraphrasing, a method of causing a user with legitimate access to an information system or information that is stored on blah, 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 blah. And here's my favorite one. A cyber threat indicator could be the actual or potential harm, again, the actual or potential harm caused by an incident, including information exfiltrated when it is necessary in order to describe a cybersecurity threat. So what this means, the way I read it, and I'm not a lawyer, but I am a law groupie, is a cyber threat indicator can include information that has been extracted from an information system, which could be your Gmail, I'll just give you a specific example, that was exfiltrated, i.e. extracted, because it was necessary to describe an actual cybersecurity threat. Would you agree in that analysis of those words, John?
I guess.
So what the government is doing, and I'm going to skip all the way through, it's a lot of menial stuff. So what they are doing is they have entire terms that indemnify private sector commercial companies, just private sector companies, when they share information
with the government.
So instead of the government spying on you, the private companies you do business with or probably take stuff from for free thinking it's a good deal, and then they have the right to scan through your email. I'll just give you one example. If they exfiltrate some information that turns out that it might look like there's some cybersecurity threat in that information, they can share it with the government and they are indemnified.
They call this the Indemnification Act for there should be something derogatory of 2014. It should be an Indemnification Act.
That's what they should call it. Sharing of information by the federal government, so that the government can share amongst themselves in very to a great extent. And let me find for you the indemnification clause, which of course is all the way at the bottom. Protection from liability, monitoring of information systems. No cause of action shall lie or be maintained in any court against any private entity, and such action shall be promptly dismissed for the monitoring of information systems and information under subsection A that is conducted in accordance with this act. Sharing or receipt of cyber threat indicators. No cause of action shall lie or be maintained in any court against an entity, and such action shall be promptly dismissed for the sharing or receipt of cyber threat indicators or countermeasures under subsection C of section 4 if such sharing or receipt is conducted in accordance with this act. Which means if you saw something, you said, I think I'll check that email out, you can send it and share it with the government, and you are indemnified. You are protected from liability.
Okay, but why would you want to do this? Protected or not?
Well, I think that...
Why do I'm running AT&T's stuff.
Yeah.
Why do I want to share anything with the government when I know it's going to I'm indemnified, great, but now I've got bad publicity. My user base thinks I'm a stooge, a stoolie, a creep, snooping around their email.
I don't see people jumping off Gmail, even though they know that Google is all of these companies are giving information to the government. Now they'll just be completely indemnified. And I think somehow maybe this new act that the president signed, let me see if I can find it. He signed like the quick pay thing or something, where the government promises to pay contractors within 14 calendar days. Because you're allowed to charge the government for doing this stuff when you share information.
Oh, it's like easy as a profit center.
Yes. So this is, you're right.
It sounds like easy money. I'd be turning everybody in.
Well, I think you will see a lot of companies doing just that.
Yeah, it's because it's there's another cash flow business.
So this is no different.
And then charge the customer for the effort you put in. Charge them too. This is a pain in the ass.
This is no different from the pharmaceutical companies receiving complete indemnification for vaccines.
Right.
It's no different.
No.
So yes, this should be called the Private Sector Indemnification Act from Spying on Your Customers of 2014.
Yeah, that would be a good name for it.
But is meant to
be honest about it.
Is meant to improve cybersecurity in the United States through enhancing sharing of information about cybersecurity threats and for other purposes. This is what they're talking about when they say the sharing economy. You think it's about Uber? No. No. Opt out, people. Opt out of those centralized services. It is going to bite you. And yeah, sure, it's cyber terrorism today, but it's going to be IRS tomorrow, and it'll be environmental protection the next day. You watch.
We've warned them enough. So let's get back to the Palestinian situation. So I'm watching Democracy Now! And there's a debate between Democracy Now! and Amy whatever her name is, Weinstein. Amy Goodman. She is, the show is decidedly...
the War and Peace Report. Is she still on the road?
The War and Peace Report, yes. She's still on the War and Peace Report, at War and Peace Report, whatever it is. So they're decidedly pro-Palestinian. They've always been. And, so they got, I think, snookered because they had a couple of representatives come on to argue what was going on in Gaza. And one of them was this Israeli guy who was actually kind of a douchey guy, but he had good arguments, it seems to me. And you can play this clip, and then I want to follow up with the woman that was on the other side of the argument. And you hear this is argument on Democracy Now! Israeli guy.
Now, the professor also talked about human rights and about international law. Hamas, the internationally recognized terrorist organization, controls the Gaza Strip. They are hiding behind civilians while firing at our civilians. Let me remind you that just yesterday, the Hamas Interior Minister, the Hamas Interior Ministry, they called for their people, for their civilians, to act as human shields. Their spokesperson also came out out and said, come and act as human shields, because while we mourn every civilian death on both sides, Hamas celebrates civilian deaths. I blame Hamas for every civilian death, because while we send text messages and phone calls and even put warning shots in the areas where we're going to try and take out the terrorist infrastructure and the particular terrorists, Hamas fire from mosques, they fire from next to houses, they fire from schools, they keep their missiles and their rockets in the basements of houses. This is a double war crime. They are firing at our civilians indiscriminately. I mean, they fired yesterday towards Jerusalem. Okay, they're firing at Jerusalem indiscriminately. What would happen if one of these rockets landed in an Arab area in Jerusalem? Or if, God forbid, it hit a holy site of the Muslims? It's indiscriminate fire. It's a war crime. I actually spoke to a lawyer yesterday who told me there are 5 or 6 war crimes that Hamas is guilty of.
Okay.
You cannot...
This guy goes on and on. It's all talking points. And so they bring on this woman, Noura Erakat.
Yeah, this is the woman who I played earlier. She's the Berkeley Arab scholar, PhD.
Oh.
Yeah, I played her on MSNBC. No, she was, with Ronan the other day.
She's all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right, we can play this. I'm interested.
I'm just, okay, well, you just kind of ruined it. But,
why?
As soon as, because she's obviously CIA.
Because she's from Berkeley, duh.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It's been well established that while Israel removed 8,000 of its...
Okay, stop. Let me set this up.
Yeah.
She comes up, and if you listen to her, it's all gobbledygook. That's why I think she's CIA. All gobbledygook.
Well, how about she's at Berkeley? That's enough right there. CIA.
Well, that's a giveaway. She actually has 2 degrees from Berkeley.
Stomping ground.
And she's a professor. She sounds like a kid. Sounds like an idiot. And she doesn't make any points at all. I think that Democracy Now! Was snookered to bring her on as the counter argument because she doesn't make a good argument. She makes everyone go, well, she's nuts.
She has some legal justification that she's written a paper about. Steck sent us that, and I looked over and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, this is, you listen to her and you can see what I'm talking about, because I was listening to her with Eric, and we're going, this woman is a plant. She's one of those.
I don't know if I like you doing show prep with Eric.
Believe me, it's only once. Because what's cool is that I'm
one shot deal
talking to myself, and so he's on the phone looking stuff up. Oh my God, she's from Cal.
Okay.
So I'm going, what?
It's funny because if you had listened to me 2 weeks ago when I played her,
well, I don't. Her name didn't ring a bell. That's the problem, and I didn't see her before because we don't have a visual show.
Yeah.
So I just knew it was some other bonehead. I thought it was a different bonehead. But the player, and you can see what I'm talking about. This is just gibberish.
Absolutely not. It's been well established that while Israel removed 8,000 of its settlers, which were already in Gaza illegally, and then replaced them in the West Bank, where the settler population continues to grow, in 2005, that it maintained control of the naval borders, of the land entries and exits, of the electromagnetic sphere, of the population registry of Gaza. It maintained the right to enter and continue its military occupations under international law.
Yeah.
The occupation, Israel's occupation of Gaza, has never ended. It remains an occupying power. Israel can repeat its propaganda over and over, but on the ground, the occupation remains and is well and alive, unfortunately. That's why Palestinians in Gaza cannot leave. Even if they want to become refugees right now, they don't even have the right to become refugees because they are held captive in an open-air prison. As for blaming Hamas for every civilian death, this is really crude. We should be alarmed that the 4th largest nuclear power in the world, certainly the largest military power in the Middle East, is blaming the victims for their own deaths.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. She said she makes it much of a subject.
4th largest nuclear power.
Yeah.
How does that work? Well, we're number 1. I would say Russia's number 2.
Right.
And then North Korea.
Great Britain.
France. Poland. I don't know.
No, Great Britain and France are nuclear powers, and they're big. They got big arsenals.
I don't know.
And then China.
But what's interesting...
And then Korea.
What's interesting...
How is this number 4?
It's not even admitted they have nukes, officially.
Right. And how could they be number 4?
What I find interesting is the people with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, or the Israel-Palestine conflict, people forget true leaders of countries and groups, like whoever's in Hamas, whoever's in the Palestinian government, they don't give a crap about the citizens. You forget this. You think that anyone cares? No,
of course not.
No, they don't care. This is. Oh, it's a humanitarian crisis. Yeah, they don't care about you. They don't care about people in East Ukraine. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about people dying in the streets of San Francisco. They don't care.
I want to play one more little clip from Democracy Now! On this topic, because this was just a jaw dropper for me. How is this news, and why should it be reported? And this is the Democracy Now! Recent tweet.
Protest against. This is a dehumanizing discourse, and we should reject it vehemently.
Joshua Hammond, I want to ask you about the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's...
Benjamin? Was it Benjamin? Is it Benjamin Button?
She's got something wrong with it.
Yes, she does. Benjamin
Netanyahu's actual tweet where he said, vengeance for the blood of a small child.
Wait a minute. Stop. Let me just roll this back. Hold on a second.
Why do we care about...
Wait a minute. This is a lie.
Where he said, vengeance for the blood of a small child Satan has not yet created. We mourn every child. Now, in this latest assault in Gaza, you have over 100 Palestinians killed. It's estimated at least 22.
Now, let me go back for you. And we have this little clip. Hold on a second. Why didn't... Oops. Didn't play for some reason. This is Benjamin Netanyahu. That's weird. It's not playing. I'm sorry. Anyway, for some reason I can't play this clip. Benjamin Netanyahu, who questioned the people who were interviewing him. Remember this? We had this clip. Some young kids, and they were doing this. They were about to interview him. This is episode. Gosh, I don't know. Going way back, and he said, "What is this with the things with your smartphones?
And you're all slaves. You're slaves.
Slaves to your devices." He didn't tweet anything.
So he has a Twitter account.
Benjamin Netanyahu does not tweet himself.
No, somebody else is doing it, but it's beside the point. This recent tweet was, again, Eric's sitting there looking this up, was 2 weeks ago, and it's only part of a larger tweet because the person is doing the tweeting for him can't do 140 characters or whatever. They have to, it's one of those tweets that goes on and on and on. This Democracy Now! Show is an abomination of journalism.
Yes, and when you point to any tweet as factual, but I have heard nothing on NPR for the past 2 weeks about how genius ISIS is with social media. I mean, how come this is allowed to go on and no one tracks this? We have no IP addresses. It's just assumed. And oh, yes, the ISIS cyber army, they have thousands of people who know to tweet at the same time to have topics trending. Please. This could easily be the State Department. It could be a bunch of Chiners in a back room. This is almost like saying, yeah, we got a lot of clicks and views on our videos, when it's bull crap. Facebook is selling likes from, Malaysia. This means nothing. This cannot pass as journalism when someone's, he sent a tweet. Like the CIA. Have you been watching this CIA account?
No.
On Twitter?
I think I follow it, but I haven't seen any tweets from them.
Now,
I'll look it up now.
The hubris of @CIA, whoever it is, whoever's doing this, I find the things they tweet to be outrageous, insulting. Here, let me find a couple of them here.
I'll read you one right now. From pacemaker batteries to exploring Earth from your cell phone, see how CIA technology impacts your life.
July 7th. No, we don't know where Tupac is. CIA, July 7th. Sorry for not following you back at The Ellen Show, but if you visit us, maybe we can take a selfie. And then the more egregious, July 7th. No, we don't know your password, so we can't send it to you. Sorry, not sorry. Really? This is just, it's insulting. This is our intelligence service who kills people, making jokes about Tupac. Do you think you're funny or you're cool somehow? Or
no, this guy should be fired.
Isn't the CIA supposed to shut up?
No, we don't know your password, so we can't send it to you. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. It's arrogant.
Yes.
CIA, thanks for making our first month on Twitter great. Today we take 10 minutes to answer 5 of the top questions you've asked. Twitterversary.
You see what I'm saying? This is a little sickening.
It's unacceptable.
I think so. I'm going to ask Uncle Don about it when I see him next month.
You should.
I say, well, how do you feel?
What the hell's going on over there?
I know what he's going to say. Ever since the Democrats took over.
Yeah, it's Obama. It's actually Obama's voice doing it. The CIA doesn't even got an account. This is the Defense Department.
Although I will point out that my uncle did become a Democrat from being a Republican and voted for Obama twice.
Well,
yeah, he was a company man. You know, that's how you do it. That's what you're supposed to.
Vote for the guy who's in there.
Deutschland Blitzkrieg! Deutschland Blitzkrieg! Deutschland Blitzkrieg! I love doing that live. I think it really works. Well. There's a lot going on here between these United States and the Germans. And there's a lot of posturing.
I have a couple of intro clips.
Okay.
I got so many clips here. Caught me off guard on the Deutschland.
Let me start with a nice little piece.
Here it is. A Germany overview report on the odd conclusion, or the German scandal on NewsHour, which I think summarizes it.
This is our public television. Public television.
Germany says it still wants close relations with the U.S. despite a spying scandal. That follows 2 incidents of German government employees allegedly passing secrets to the U.S. Berlin has asked the CIA station chief to leave the country, but the foreign minister said today this does not mean a permanent rift.
Despite the troubling incidents in recent weeks that led to yesterday's decisions, for me, our partnership with the United States is without alternative. We want to reinvigorate our partnership, our friendship on an honest basis, and we are ready for this.
Last year, it came out that the U.S. intercepted German internet traffic and eavesdropped on the chancellor.
As a follow-up, I'll play the second clip, too, because this is the overview report, a similar report, but it has a different ending.
Okay.
Pack up and leave. The CIA station chief in Berlin has been asked to leave Germany following yet another spying scandal. He was apparently a key contact for 2 German officials who've recently been arrested, accused of spying for the US. This has sparked a major diplomatic rift between the 2 countries less than a year after it was revealed that Angela Merkel's phone was tapped. Well, Damien McGuinness joins us live from Berlin. Damien, how has this affected bilateral relations?
Well, what's interesting, Aurora, last year we thought that relations had got pretty bad when, as you mentioned, it was revealed that US security services appeared to have been bugging Angela Merkel's phone. And that was when President Obama came on a very friendly visit here. So she felt personally affronted. But we've now seen with the revelations that in just 1 week, 2 German government employees have been accused of spying for the Americans, that relations really have hit an all-time low.
Okay, hold on. Can I? I'm gonna.
Yeah. Please.
This is the problem with some of the news media. Our relations with Germany are not at an all-time low. That would be World War II.
3.
All-time low. World War I, World War II. There's a lot of opportunities here. Unless you're just talking about all-time low for the last 3 years. Anyway, go. I'm sorry. It just bugs me.
Well, Well, this is the meme. Now, we heard the German media saying that the public is pissed off about this. The public. And I don't believe that for a second. I don't think the public pays any attention to that. They're not like, crappy Americans, yeah, we hate you. No. But they are being made to think that. It is moving that way. And NPR, our national treasure here, is working very hard on making us believe that the Germans hate us. So there is something being constructed. This is from NPR's The Takeaway. And on the program, they have the editor of the Zeit. It's a German magazine. He may be the digital editor, I'm not sure. And just listen to the comparisons that are being made as the tables are turned. The rules are flipped on us, my friends.
So naive, the Germans are really sort of kind of clueless about how espionage is done these days and a little jealous of the U.S. technology. What do you say to that?
Are we naive, really? Let me refer to some of the events that upset Germans the most, okay? First, you tapped the phone of Chancellor Angela Merkel. Seriously, why? Is she a known terrorist? Is she even a suspect? Is she plotting something? I don't think so. And many Germans think likewise.
Okay, now, just so you know, many Germans. Could this guy be any more quintessential German, by the way?
Germans.
He's going to say Nazis in a minute, but he means Nazis.
Nazis.
I have no idea why maybe he's reading it wrong, because even in German, it's Nazi. They're Nazi. They're Nationalistische Partei. Not Nazi. I don't know where he comes up with Nazi, but so just so you know, it's coming. He says Nazi, but he means Nazi.
Merkel's phone was a strong meme here. In the eyes of the...
A strong meme. He means meme. But he says meme.
First, you tapped the phone of Chancellor Angela Merkel. Seriously, why? Is she a known terrorist? Is she even a suspect? Is she plotting something? I don't think so. And many Germans think likewise. Merkel's phone was a strong meme here. In the eyes of the NSA, no one is innocent. We see government surveillance as necessary, just as you do, right? It has to be limited by law, controlled by the parliament and by courts, and then it's okay. But we have a problem with the idea of comprehensive surveillance. We have a problem with the concept that you have to save everything and to have to build a giant haystack to find one needle in there afterwards. And if you have a reasonable suspicion, you can watch the bad guy in every way you want, even in Germany. But you can't watch all the people all the time in the hope to find one bad guy. We have experienced what global surveillance can do to a society. You know, we have seen it in Nazi Germany and with the Stasi in the German Democratic Republic.
Hold on a second. Did he just say that we're like the Nazis and the Stasi? Is that what I'm hearing? And believe it or not, the NPR guy was listening.
Surveillance destroys trust and solidarity.
Would you compare the United States to the Stasi in East Germany?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jawohl.
Very good, yes.
Yes, very good. Very good.
Of I want to know all from all of you is nearly the same.
Is there any way to repair this relationship? What do you think should be done here?
Needs to be repaired.
You are one of our closest allies, right?
I love how he has that Silicon Valley thing. Right? We
think of America as a friend, as a true friend, really.
Friend.
And you liberated us from the Nazis, but
Nazis.
I think what we need now is a little more transparency, a little in this partnership, a little more trust. And in our democracy, it's a no-go to wiretap an MP. So trust us. Trust us that we find the bad guys on our own and ask us if you want to know.
All right, so how did that work with all those 9/11 terrorists who were in Germany? Trust you? Okay. But he does point out the obvious, that we are good friends. We have a relationship. We're really good friends. We just need to have a little more trust in the relationship. And Jen Psaki says, she even takes it one step further, that we're not at an all-time low. No, John. We're just going through a rough patch in our relationship.
Not high in this case.
The German government has asked the CIA station chief at the U.S. Embassy in Berlin to leave. This is, of course, the second report of the U.S. spying in Germany. We really seem to be in a rough period in the U.S.-German relationship right now.
Well, I would disagree with that, Jake. Obviously, there are points in every relationship where you may have disagreements or you may have rough patches, and certainly we've gone through some serious discussions with
but she's relating it to an actual, like a marriage, like a real relationship. You know, hey, in every relationship you go through some rough patches, you know, where you have arguments and disagreements, husband, wife, wife, whatever.
Germans over the last several months, but we also work together very closely on a range of issues, whether that's the P5+1 negotiations or that's the situation on the ground in Israel, and that will continue. And the secretary, I expect, will be able to engage with the foreign minister soon in the coming days.
Well, I'm not saying the relationship's ending, but you would grant that it's a rough patch when these things happen.
Well, the sign of a strong, important relationship is one where you're able to get through the rough patches. And we have every confidence we'll be able to do that in this case as well.
All right, Jen Psaki.
But this is what it's like a relationship. It's like we have a rough patch and
yes, it's over.
Oh yes, baby.
Call it a day.
We call it a day, Angela.
Sorry that it has
to end this way.
Oh, no reason.
Just a rough patch. I'm sorry.
We knew it had to end someday.
Okay, here comes Angela. Jawohl, Obama. Es ist vorbei. Dank sein die Snowden. Anyway.
Okay, let's take one look at the possible obvious thing. We've talked about this off during a postmortem. What is the possibility that the NSA, in its battle with, which we haven't really talked much about it in the last few shows, with their feud with the CIA over who gets the most money,
yes,
has something to do with this outing of the CIA station chief, which has got to be a big. I mean, if you're in the NSA and you're having this battle and you're maybe part of it, you have to be laughing your ass off.
So let's rewind. Our initial analysis, which is held true to this day, is there is a rift between the CIA and certainly the NSA, but also FBI, but more importantly, the NSA, who were getting all the money, had all the cool toys, had an office deck which looked like the Enterprise bridge, Star Trek, whatever.
Whatever.
And then they send a guy who is still a card-carrying CIA agent to work for a contractor. He was not a direct NSA employee. I mean, he spills the beans and makes these guys look like crap. Now, only one day after the budget is signed by the president for the intelligence agencies, which we read this on the show, which includes a confidential schedule of the real money, that's when all this takes place. And I think it's very possible this is a complete retaliation. But you've got to wonder what side Merkel and the Germans really are on. This could all be, they could be in bed with the NSA for all we know and be wanting to oust the CIA.
If you remember when they first broke some of this news and the Germans were told that they were being spied on, there was an indication that they shared information and maybe they were being spied on by the Germans themselves and the NSA was collecting the information on behalf of the Germans. There was some indication that that might be going on. And then it kind of broke down when the revelation that Merkel's cell phone, or mobile phone should be called, cell phone is really an Americanism, was being tapped, and that irked her, and that kind of screwed things up a little bit. But it was like I had the impression that they were in bed together, and I think this is probably the if it was going to be, let's assume there's a script going on here. It would be, look, we're sorry, it wasn't our idea to tap your phone, it was Obama's, and here's some information you might find interesting because two of your people, and we have all the phone calls if you want to hear them, have been working with the CIA station chief, and I don't know what they're up to, but they're up to something, and you might want to look into this. And here's the files. Go over them as you feel. And I think that's a distinct possibility. Why not?
First of all, a cell phone in Germany is known as a Handy. Do you have your Handy? Just so you know, it's called a Handy. And
generally speaking, worldwide, for technology writers, they're referred to as mobile phones.
Handy. It's a Handy. I'm Handy. And we can assume that this may also have something to do with direct retaliation against the United States State Department. From everything we know at this moment, this so-called spy may have really only been in contact with the State Department. And I think that it's more likely there is a rift between Germany Angela and the State Department, particularly if you remember this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would be a reason, and State Department, CIA go very much hand in hand, of course. So maybe this is just.
It looks like I think the sides that we've noticed is State Department, CIA would be on one side, which would make sense in this whole regard, and we've noticed that the NSA is cozied up with the FBI because during congressional hearings, and we've watched tons of them, the FBI is often defending the NSA in front of the Senate and the House.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's some coziness between those two guys. So I think this is if nothing else, it sounds like a good drama.
It does, but it's just a rough patch in the relationship.
It's a rough patch.
Another one of Snowden's lawyers cropped up, though, on Sky. And that's always Snowden's lawyer. So we have the German lawyer Wolfgang. This is Jesslyn Radic.
Oh yeah, I've heard Radic.
Herself a whistleblower. No, she.
Oh, just the right. Oh, right. No. This is the one that's got the funny voice.
Yeah, and when she gets excited, her mouth starts to go all funny.
Yeah, she starts talking like this.
A little bit. Yeah. It has something. It's one of those things.
Like a nervous thing. She gets nervous.
Yeah.
And starts talking funny.
It's like a little Tourette's thing. I think it's sexy.
You think so?
Yeah, it's interesting. It is.
Wait, that feels great. Can you go to the left?
Edward Snowden's lawyer has told Sky News that this latest row is over allegations that the US has been spying on the German government's own investigation into those claims.
If you think about the idea of the US discovering a mole from China. Or Russia or even a friendly country infiltrating the staff of one of the congressional intel committees, we would be completely outraged. There's a very cozy, trusting, cooperative relationship between Germany and the U.S. And this spy scandal is the biggest such eruption since World War II.
Yeah, why is Snowden's so-called lawyer saying this kind of stuff?
I have no idea. You tell me.
Well, there's a lot amiss in this. And I think the final analysis is obvious. We have Obama, and he's really just the administration. I don't know what they're doing. He's raising funds. I mean, he's doing what he loves, going around the country giving speeches. Then saying Republicans suck, which is boring. I mean, it's been months since we've had a decent clip from him. It's all boring, nothing new, nothing interesting. Then we have the State Department with the Kagans, with the Yaleys, and they are no doubt doing all kinds of ugly things. And then we have the NSA, CIA, but really Germany in the middle of everything, still dealing with the Russians. Of course, they've got Poland. All of this stuff is, it's a whole different entity. And we cannot dismiss it the way we have been dismissing it. And maybe this sending the station chief home, which, it's like sending your ambassador home. It's a big deal. It's just a message to say, screw you.
And then there's this new player coming onto the scene, which has nothing to I don't know where she fits into anything, but have you seen Ursula von der Leyen, the defense minister?
No.
Look her up. Look at here. Type in this: German Defense Minister Ursula.
German Defense.
And then look at images.
Am I going to like her?
Probably.
Oh, she looks a little. Oh, okay. Oh, I like the Ursula. Oh, she looks badass.
She is considered to be the next. She's going to take
Chancellor.
over.
Next Chancellor.
Yeah, she's going to be the next Chancellor.
I like her look. I like it a lot.
She was on a couple of the shows. I only saw, well, maybe only one of the shows, but I saw her. That's when it clued me in. She was like giving her rationale for kicking the CIA guy out. And I watched her, and she is really slick. She is of the Christine Lagarde school of domination.
Although younger, prettier.
Yeah, but you can see where she's headed.
Oh, yeah. She's headed straight for the top. She's a tip for the top. No Botox.
So this is you have to keep tabs on this one.
You know what would really look good on her?
cat suit.
A sash.
A sash.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
We do have a few people to thank for show 634. And we're going to thank them, including Ian Larson in Riverhead, New Zealand, 14714. Does he have anything here? He's got a birthday coming up, and he's donating 14714 because 14714 is my 50th birthday.
Aww.
And what a better way to give than a gift of? What a better way to give myself a gift than to support the best podcast in the universe.
Excellent.
We encourage that sort of thing.
We sure do.
Yep. And he'll have a birthday call coming up. Chris Roald Tangesdal.
Chris Roald Tangesdal?
In Kristiansand, Norway.
Kristiansand, I think it is.
Yeah, I don't have that part. 133.30. He says, here's my $100 donation plus another $33 for finding 2 slips in the bottle return machine worth 33 NOKs, Norwegian money.
Norwegian kroner.
Kroners, yeah.
Norwegian money. Wampum.
Well, they're not in the euro. Wisely not in the euro.
Yeah.
That's interesting. He's finding free money and sending it to us.
Which means they can't wear a sash in Norway.
You can always wear a sash.
No.
Charles Jordan in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, $100. Anonymous from somewhere, Oklahoma, $100. Scott Mulkenthian in Maidstone, Victoria, Australia, $99.99.
Forgive me, Podfathers, for I have douched. It has been 18 months since my last donation. Please give me a shout out for my 35th birthday on the 16th. It was actually John's trick photo of Adam and Mickey in the newsletter that got me to donate.
Let me stop right now.
Wait, let me finish the note. Very tricky, John. For what it's FYI, I've never had trouble receiving the newsletter.
That's because you're in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's not true for Americans.
Now, first of all, I feel violated.
Well, blame the gene.
I mean, I felt violated when he posted that picture on Google+. What is that all about? I'm not going to go on his boat anymore if he's going to...
What did I say? What did I say about going on boats?
Don't go on the boat, you said.
I said, don't go on the boat.
Yeah. And it's like, if I'd known that it was going to show up somewhere, I would have, made my hair not to look like I'm bald.
You look like a drowning rat.
And Mickey looks awesome, like she has no clothes on underneath.
She got a smile on her face. It reminds you see these photos once in a while like that, and it's always the caption, which one's the model?
Or I think it could have been woman with dick. Either way.
So here's the deal. I've got numerous emails, and this one's just one of them, saying nice Photoshop.
Oh. What?
Really?
Why would it be a Photoshop?
Where does that come from?
Wow. Why would it be a Photoshop?
Yeah, why would it be a Photoshop? Apparently, Sir Gene threw you two overboard. That's the way I saw it. Because you were obviously sunbathing on the deck, and you'd greased up the place with too much suntan oil.
No.
So he threw you both off the boat.
No. Wrong. Let me tell you how this works.
Okay.
So you're on Lake Travis, which is like 65 miles of river, kind of. You're sitting on the boat and with Gene and his friends, Oksana and Pyotr, all spies. The whole boat was with which should have been SS spy vessel.
Spy ship.
Like, seriously, what do you do? Real estate? Yeah, okay, fine, spy. Gene's a spy. They're all Russian spies, and we're drinking vodka.
Coincidentally.
By coincidence, and eating, hummus. And so, I'm not kidding.
I can't think of a better combination.
And then after
vodka and hummus.
After 2 hours, you got to pee, so you jump in the lake. So we're really...
Isn't there a head on the boat?
No, it's not. It's not that big a boat.
Oh
no, that's what Lake Travis is for. You jump in.
Lake Travis is a giant lake of piss.
Most lakes are, and turtle poop. Bunch of spies. Oksana was a cute spy, though.
They usually are. Most of the female spies are pretty cute.
Yeah. Yeah. And Amanda? No, not Amanda. Maybe it was Amanda. A redheaded Russian spy.
Oh, they're all Russians love them redheaded spies.
And check this out. And so we're back on the dock, in the harbor. And then it was like, oh, should we all go eat something? And then the redhead Russian spy says, I'm sorry, I can't. I have a hot Scrabble date.
What?
Yeah, exactly. That is code. You know,
terrible.
It's code.
That is code. It has to be
a hot Scrabble date. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't eat with us because of your hot Scrabble date. All right. So anyway, and that's how the photo came to be. It's not photoshopped.
Yes, it's a real photo. It was sent to me, and I said this could be a good lure.
And it worked to
get people to open the newsletter because people love photos of Adam.
Yeah. For some reason.
I have looked at, by the way, I got onto this when you were doing one of the Hot Pocket tours. If you teased the photo in the subject line, people were interested to see what you were up to. And so then I noticed that, some of the best response I've ever gotten was the couple I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 mails ago when I sent some photo of you doing something. And I said, oh, here's Adam doing something. And
when I was photobombing my niece, Mickey's niece.
Right, that picture. That packed them in. Let's see what Adam's doing. So, I think it's just like, this is it. I found it. I found the...
Well, okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my own mail serving software, which will not be MailChimp. I'll do PHP list so that everyone will receive it, no spam. And I'm going to send my own photos. Don't get on my photo stuff. If there's like a business in this, I'm going to do it myself. Have you abusing me?
You see, what you're missing is the editorial control aspect. You don't understand.
No, I don't get it.
That as a professional, I can pick the photo because there's plenty of photos of you.
All right,
but that one with you wet in the water, just a gem. It goes on irresistible.
Okay.
Anyway, onward. Brian Williams in Streamwood, Illinois, sends a check-in every couple of shows, actually, with the number 7373, which I think requires a...
I wasn't quite ready for that.
For the code.
Yeah, it's one of our hams, of course.
Scott Waldhair, double nickels on the dime from Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Thank you for all the hard work. Paul Love in Mechanicsville, Virginia. Mechanicsville.
No, I don't know where that is.
It's where the mechanics are.
Yeah.
And that's a double nickels on the dime.
Nice.
Roy Metz Aquarium Services. So if you're in San Diego, California, you know where to go. Double nickels on the dime.
I love his why because.
Why because.
He's still on the why
Ivar
because.
Vandervelde in Wageningen.
Okay. Ivar van der Velde. Ivar van der Velde. In Wageningen. And since this came up on email, yes, it is the Netherlands, not Holland.
Okay. So then you explain to me when you go to the Dutch government website, they have a huge promotion for Holland.
Yeah.
And if you read their definition, why is it Holland or Netherlands? There's a whole web page devoted to this. They say Holland is fine as a generic term for the Netherlands.
Oh, do these people wear a sash by any chance?
This is the government of Holland saying this.
Well, you have the North Holland and South Holland, which are two of the provinces.
Yeah, there's 2 provinces. But the government website says it's okay.
What government website are you talking about?
I'll send you the link. I didn't know.
Right.
It's the government website. Type in this Google search.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Okay, then never mind.
Send me the link.
It's bull crap.
It's not like I live there or anything or know anything about it.
I don't care what you say. I'm telling you what the government says. I go by the government. If there's a rule, I follow it. The government says something, I obey them. The government says that.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Host folks in Romford, Essex, 5247. Walter Grant IV in Moreno Valley. These are all $50 donors. That's how we end. In Moreno Valley, California, Mike Westerfield, who seems to donate every show, another $50. Those checks come in very routinely. Patricia, so it's Sir Mike Westerfield. Patricia Worthington in Miami, Florida. Brandon Savoy in parts unknown. Yeah. Stephen Van Riet in Kingsville, Victoria, Australia. And his next door neighbor, Paul Groves in Wangaratta, Victoria, Australia. Matthew Stevens in North Richland Hills, Texas. Alexander Sokovy in Moscow. John Strag in San Antonio. Patrick Macomb, Sir Patrick, I'm sure of it, is Mount Vernon, New York. James Butcher in Dalwallinu, Western Australia. Sir Mark Tanner, Whittier, California. David Funk in Redding, California. Sir Alan Bean, our regular over here in Oakland, California. I can wave and he can see me. And finally, Sir Kevin Payne in Richmond, Virginia. I want to thank those folks and everyone else who helped contribute to the show at lesser amounts of money.
You know, those guys at the $50, they're there a lot. I see those names a lot.
There's a couple guys that the checks come in sometimes 2-3 times a month, twice a month, once a show. There's at least, I think, it's a couple guys just constantly coming. Alan Bean writes a check and mails it in.
Right.
And his agreement was, as long as the show is good, I'll send you a check every month for $50.
Oh, okay.
And he's not, as far as I know, he's sent a check every month. And this has been for like 2 years.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. It really is. And then, of course, we have a lot of people who are on our 3333 monthlies, our $4 a show, or $4 a week. We have 1212s, 1111s. It's a lot. We need more of that. If
3333 seems to be actually, weirdly enough, the most popular.
A lot of people love that one. And if you have a 3333 and have not received a podcast license, send me an email, adam@curry.com, and I will hook you up immediately. davidfoley.podcastlicense.com is now alive, and as he deserves. So definitely get on that. And thank you all very much. It really enables us to do the program, and it's highly appreciated.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Ryan wants to congratulate his buddy Jonathan Diggle. His birthday's coming up on the 14th. Ian Larson turning 50 tomorrow as well. And Scott Mulkenthian, 35 on the 16th. Happy birthday from all of your friends here at the best podcast in the universe. And then we have our Black Night. Wow, 2 Black Nights in 1 week. That's pretty, it's when it rains, it pours, I guess. That's the way it goes. So come on, Maxwell Finn. We really do appreciate your support of the best podcast in the universe, the amount of $1,000 or more, and therefore very happy to welcome you, sir, to the exclusive table of the knights and the dames, and hereby I pronounce thee Sir Inside Jobs. Knight at the No Agenda Roundtable for you, my friend. We have hookers and blow, whiskey and wet wipes, bad science and perky breasts, Cuban cigars and single malt scotch, Ren Boys and Chardonnay if you feel like it, 3 geishas and a bucket of fried chicken, hot pants and booze, wenches and beer, or maybe just some bong hits and bourbon, or mutton and mead. And go to noagendanation.com/rings, pick up your well-deserved ring. And I think as a Black Knight, you can actually make your own sash, a Black Knight sash, and wear it.
I think anyone can make their own sash and wear it.
Yeah.
The sash is cool. I think going out with a sash on has got to be the height of well-dressed.
Yeah. Okay.
You'd actually imagine Mickey all dolled up in some very elaborate outfit, and you wearing a tux with all the hair's all done, everything, a tux and a sash, and going to the opera or going to the embassy to one of these things where you get invited and show up together. I'm telling you, everyone would defer. They would think you're the something. You'd stand out. A couple.
Yeah. Well, we'd look very good. I think people would actually
look like a top of a cake.
If we both had a sash on, I think people would actually move to the sidewalk and stand aside and wave at us.
I don't know if Mickey would need the sash. I think she already
floats.
Without you, I think her and the sash.
That would, without me and with the sash, much better.
Yeah, but I think you have to have the sash. She has no sash.
How about a tiara?
Ooh, a small one.
All right. Hey, be very afraid, slaves. Be very afraid.
ISIS has seized at least 90 pounds of radioactive uranium in Iraq. The Times reported that the militants seized the material in Mosul, and the material could be used to make a dirty bomb. Iraq's ambassador to the UN has now appealed to the international community for help to stave off the threat of their use by terrorists in Iraq and abroad. An IAEA spokeswoman said they believe the material involved is low-grade and would not present a significant safety, security, or nuclear proliferation risk. ISIS also took over a military base in northern Iraq last month that contained Saddam Hussein's stockpile of chemical weapons, including hundreds of warheads containing sarin and mustard gas.
Okay.
Bullshit.
I have a couple of questions here. One, why are you saying we should be afraid of a dirty bomb when 20 seconds later you say it was like medical stuff? Like, it was low grade.
When it blows up, a flying needle can stab you.
And two, what is this weapons of mass destruction from Saddam Hussein? I thought there were no weapons of mass destruction.
That's what I thought, too. I didn't know about sarin gas. This is bull crap.
And all of a sudden, it's all there?
This is bull crap. This is a phony baloney story to get people back on the neocon bandwagon.
Must be. It must be. I see no other reason why.
So I caught this. This is got nothing to do with any thread here. It's just something I caught because I pointed it out as a meme before. I'm pointing it out as a meme again. This is someone using the word calculus in a question, and the person answers it uses the word again. Using wrong word calculus is in all caps. You can't miss it.
The United States seeks out of those negotiations, or how does it at all change maybe what our calculus is?
I don't know that it directly changes our calculus, but
do they mean calculation?
No, I mean strategy.
Calculus.
They're using the word calculus as a synonym for strategy.
Interesting. Calculus.
And Obama uses it. It sounds smart.
I
got another shorty.
Okay.
Curious declassified document about Snowden.
Newly declassified documents show the Obama administration knew ahead of time about the British government's plan to force the Guardian newspaper to destroy hard drives containing documents leaked by Snowden. The Associated Press obtained records which show NSA officials called the planned destruction, quote, good news.
I thought that was peculiar.
Well, that your government lied to you? Gee, I had no idea I had no idea that was going on. I was looking at some of the stuff going on in Ukraine. No clips per se, because the clips are all basically the same. But Poroshenko and Yats have now said, we're going to continue getting rid of the horrible terrorists there in the east, which are Ukrainians. And for each Ukrainian soldier killed, the president has vowed they will kill tens and hundreds of militants. There's a bunch of war-hungry, mongering a-holes over there.
I'm telling you, this Ukrainian, it's more obvious when you start really digging into it. This is a fascist.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're real Nazis.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And they were
supporting them.
And they were taking selfies with McCain and Noodleman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Brennan was there. That's the one that gets me.
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine seeing a little, an Occupy rally in New York and seeing the head of the KGB hanging out there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Here's what is, of course, we know that Ukraine got that big IMF loan. And as a part of that, this goes quick. Ukraine's cabinet of ministers has agreed to sell a 50% stake in the Ukhnafta and 90% of the shares in the Odessa port plant. These are their big facilities in the port. They're privatizing the entire country, and they haven't even killed everybody yet. In Greece, they waited a couple of years and then they sold everything off. This is...
these guys are in a hurry.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to put up some gates and stuff. In Odessa, by the way. Odessa, which is, is disputed, also disputed territory. Meanwhile, everybody seems to be jumping on board. Everyone's kind of going rogue. Italy is jumping into the South Stream gas pipeline with Gazprom. Croatia's jumping in. It seems like the Germans and the French are, kind of cozying up to Putin in the peace talks.
Putin!
French President François Hollande and German Chancellor Angela Merkel told Putin on Thursday that it was important to reach a political solution quickly. So they got three-way telephone call. They're doing a three-way. There's a three-way I'd like to see. And then Putin, he's just sticking it up our poop chute, the Putin. Just coming right over to Cuba.
Vladimir Putin concluded his first stop on the Latin American tour to Havana. Speaking at a press conference, he confirmed that many major important deals have been signed, particularly allowing the Russian company Zarubezhneft to drill oil in offshore platforms in Cuba. Potentially, those oil fields have up to 20 billion barrels of oil. Many other deals as well. But the biggest news of the day, and this is the talk of the town now, is that Moscow officially confirmed it is writing off 90% of Cubans' debt to the Soviet Union, which amounts to $32 billion, an astronomical sum of money for this country. The remaining 10% will be reinvested into the Cuban economy. The intrigue, of course, is now what Havana will offer in return. The speculation is rife that the military base, the radar base on Cuba, the Soviet base Lourdes, which was shut down in the late 1990s, may be relaunched. But that is, of course, a speculation. It was not confirmed.
Yeah. And that's our backyard, dude.
Yeah. Well, it becomes a problem if they open up shop there.
Well, and that's why they're saying it, obviously.
Yeah. Just to threaten. I've got a piece of news. You're done with the
Yeah. Well, I was just going to hit Afghanistan real quick, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So Kerry, of course, had to jump in immediately. He's been flying. That is a thankless job, that Secretary of State job.
He loves it.
Oh, of course he loves it now, but he's
beaming because he thinks he's the boss.
He is. He's running some of it. The president called, our president, Obama, called those two guys, hey, this is not right. The United Nations is saying, we have to audit. Now it could take several weeks.
I have actually a clip of Kerry on this.
Okay, so just to set it up for those who are new to the No Agenda show, the Afrigani, is that his name? He's a shitty name. He has a shitty name.
That's the other guy's name is better.
Abdullah is easy to remember. So Abdullah is not supposed to win, but the Ghani guy is...
Did you see the picture of Kerry with Abdullah, and they were both wearing the exact same suit and the exact same tie?
No, I didn't see that. No.
That was pretty good. I think he was trying to kiss up to Kerry.
Excellent. All right, you have this election clip?
Afghan election, a little background.
The transfer of power in turmoil. John Kerry spent his day in Kabul trying to convince Afghanistan's leaders to agree to a comprehensive audit of the June 14th election.
No one is declaring victory at this time. The results are yet to be finalized. And so those questions have to be resolved, and I'm very appreciative that Dr. Ghani respects that fact.
Ghani is the frontrunner according to controversial preliminary results.
Our commitment is to ensure that the election process enjoys the integrity and the legitimacy that the people of Afghanistan and the world would believe in.
And so I guess what Kerry was, the message he was there to send was, if Abdullah wins, then we're pulling everything out, all our money, screw you, pound sand, you brown people. However, if you let our guy in, Ghani, if you let him win, then you can keep the money, we'll bring more money, we'll keep some people here, and everything will be flowing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Well, it's those damn poppy fields.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was looking at some United Nations stuff. I want to look at thinking of the children, looking at some UNICEF stuff. I'm looking at what's going on in Sudan, South and North Sudan.
Did you see that in Sudan they now have cholera?
Why don't you let me finish my thing?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. We'll pretend I didn't say that. I'll cut it out.
No, forget it.
No, I'm sorry.
Just play South Sudan news, then we'll go on to your topic.
More than 2,600 people have been infected by cholera in South Sudan. At least 60 more have been killed by the outbreak since May. According to the charity Save the Children, thousands of kids are at risk. Cholera is a waterborne disease that's particularly dangerous in countries with poor sanitation. Well, South Sudan has indeed been ravaged by deep ethnic tensions since last year, ever since President Salva Kiir sacked his deputy, Riek Machar.
I apologize. I didn't mean to blow your...
Yeah, no, you just stepped all over it. Now your punchline, everything ruined.
I'm
because
sorry.
You had to show off your knowledge. I didn't know you knew that.
Well, I had actually put it in the show notes because I thought it was so funny. It seems like that's what the United Nations does. You know, hey, Haiti, we're going to help you.
Coincidence is a little annoying because there's a huge UN mission down there with the exact same people that they sent to Haiti.
Really?
The same profile of countries. It's almost identical.
You mean, who was it that brought the cholera in from the Blue Helmets?
I don't remember, but they're the same guys.
Wow.
Why don't they stop this? And why doesn't somebody notice this? And the UN, of course, won't take... They knew the UN did it in Haiti. They can't... They're not sure of the South Sudan situation. But come on. Where's cholera coming from?
It's a great way to kill people. It's really demoralizing. I mean, if you're pooping your guts out, you're gonna do what people tell you to do.
Yeah, you're gonna follow the rules.
Yeah. I have a sash, I tell you, and I want you to follow my rules.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
And here's a new rule coming up. Here, play this clip. This is actually from last show.
I'm afraid to say anything now because I don't want to ruin your punchline.
Actually, the fact that you knew it was annoying. Phone bombs.
Oh no!
Were we back in the late in 2003?
Yeah.
Play phone bombs.
The federal government today announced new rules that will require passengers flying to the United States from some overseas airports to power up their phones and laptops before boarding. The move comes amidst growing concern that terrorists are trying to fashion new kinds of bombs, possibly disguised as electronic devices.
Now, but what is new about this report?
What's new about it? When did they go back to this? Remember when you got on a plane and they make you bring your laptop out and power it up?
Were you on this program 3 days ago when we did this whole bit about this exact topic?
Yeah, we talked about it, but I don't realize that there's no clip that said they had to make you turn your laptop on. I don't remember that in that clip.
Yes, CD players.
All right, CD players, you're right.
And that's where we got this clip.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
And then we discussed about how stupid it is because you don't really want to be a TSA agent when someone's powering up their explosive
it will blow
phone.
And I left out, well, since we're going to be reminiscing, I left out the anecdote I was going to say, which I didn't say, which was a great gag to play on somebody if you can get a hold of their laptop.
is turn the battery.
Is to have a power on sequence where it says bomb initiated 3, 2, 1 on the screen.
That's a great gag, John. That's really
the other
funny.
Great gag, which I didn't bring up, which I still think is a funny one. If you can get some lead foil, I think I may have brought this up on the show before. If you get some lead foil, you cut out a profile of a automatic weapon, of a handgun, and then you stick it in somebody's book.
It's hilarious, I tell you.
Because it's a foil, so they wouldn't even notice it. It would be like a bookmark. But when it goes through the X-ray machine, there's a distinct handgun shows up on the X-ray machine, and then you have to go through a period of embarrassment.
Yeah, this is a great gag. This is very, very funny.
Just something to think about. Sorry about the repeat. Okay, let's go to here's a bullcrap story, and I don't know what the point of this is. Maybe you can tell me. This is the bullcrap Silicon Valley intern story.
Okay.
Finally now, we started off by talking about apprenticeships here in France, but interns in Silicon Valley are facing quite a different reality.
Yeah, this is a pretty astonishing figure. A survey put together by Glassdoor found that Silicon Valley summer interns are being paid as much as $7,000 a month.
That's not bad.
Now, these are people who can be hired out of high school by technology firms. Let's take a look at some of the highest paid. Palantir is a data analysis technology company. They top the bill over $7,000. Twitter, Facebook, Google, Apple, all pretty significant salaries and more than the average household income in the US, which is just $4,280. Not a bad start for these people, but they are in very high demand. Silicon Valley firms doing their best to attract those talent early on, trying to get them even before they go to university into those internships and, of course, into jobs afterwards.
Well, this is very interesting as it plays right into a news report that I picked up. And this is what I decided not to play earlier in the show at the very beginning. And I'm glad I didn't because it fits right in.
It's the weekly hooker report.
That's right, your weekly hooker report, as you know. Economics ties directly into hookers, and when you've got interns making $7,000...
The world's oldest profession meets one of the world's newest. Lori Siegel, CNN Money tech expert. You recently visited Silicon Valley.
Now, she's a tech expert, because this is now tech news, you see. And for when we have tech news, if we don't have a phone to talk about, well, what do we do? Let's talk about hookers.
The quick wealth that some of these guys experience there, the app developers, entrepreneurs, programmers.
App developers.
Kind of led to a sort of cottage sex industry.
Cottage sex industry?
What?
Cottage sex industry? Kind of. Don Lemon, under what rock do you live, my friend?
Oh, my God. I mean, Don, the last thing you think of when you think of Silicon Valley and these nerds and programmers.
Nerds? They don't fuck. The last thing you think of, nerds don't fuck. They don't fuck.
Are the sex industry. But we did a behind-the-scenes look, and we spoke to women who are capitalizing on a lot of the new money there, and they're using some very interesting marketing techniques.
Interesting new marketing techniques. Oh, wow. I can't wait to hear. Are they using codes like Carbonite codes to advertise? Or what are they doing?
Okay.
According to the females we've had contact with, and males, because it's both males and females, they indicate that they can make more money in San Jose and they can charge more for their services based on what individuals in our area make.
People in the area make a lot. Average wages over the last year of over $96,000.
The majority of them are really sweet.
Karen is a sex worker based in...
Now, this report...
Is she a midget?
He's an Oompa Loompa, apparently.
Silicon Valley. She charges $400 to $500 an hour.
What?
How much money do you think you've made?
I've made close to $1 million.
Now, why CNN... And this, by the way, this was a 6-minute report on hookers in Silicon Valley. By the way, also male hookers, because you know those geeks and nerds, faggots, all of them. This is really unbelievable.
That's tech news today.
This is your tech news. If it's not a phone...
that way. I can't say anything other than that.
Hold on a second, John. Whoa, hold on. Time for your tech news today, everybody. John, is there a new phone out?
No, there's no new phone out.
No, there you go. That's your tech news for today. And let's talk about hookers. This really, really has to stop.
Well, sometimes, these rich guys and these hookers, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, I noticed this Google. I've kind of been avoiding the Google story. I got it
right. Here's the report, heroin girl.
I've been avoiding the Google story.
Well, you brought it up with the hookers.
Yeah, that's why CNN did it.
A woman police describe as a high-priced hooker is tied to the heroin death of a second man.
And it's Don Lemon again. Don is doing nothing but hooker reports.
Yeah, and then the other story that he bombed.
Yeah.
There's, quote,
right.
No freaking way the man was a drug abuser. Alex Tichelman's alleged role in the heroin death of a Google executive in California prompted police.
By the way, first name Alex, same as the hot lesbian on Orange is the New Black. Just a coincidence, and this one's also kind of hot looking. Just a coincidence.
To reopen a case across the country, the dead man in Georgia was Tichelman's boyfriend, Dean Riopel, owner of Atlanta's Masquerade Bar and Concert Hall, and lead singer of the shock and glam rock band Impotent Sea Snakes.
I really... How come we don't talk about the dead Google guy who apparently was involved in making Google Glass?
Yeah, he comes up.
I mean, he got what was coming to him. You make this thing. You made this Google Glass here. We're going to kill you with the hooker and heroin.
Just a fun-loving guy with the stars in my eyes.
They played the band?
Yeah, just let it play.
Oh, my God.
All right, I want you to listen to the 911 call that Titchelman made last September.
I think my boyfriend overdosed or something. Like he won't respond.
Okay, and why you think it's an overdose?
Because there's nothing else it could be.
Okay,
I know that for a fact.
Accidental or intentional?
I think definitely accidental.
All right, so Riopel's friend and former bandmate says that Riopel was into raising monkeys, not shooting heroin.
Wait a minute.
The story just gets better and better.
And it's your tech news.
He was no way, shape, or form any kind of user of heroin or drugs or anything. You know, I'm a pot smoker, and he would always get on me about smoking pot's not good for you. He was really health conscious, and, you know, Dean doing heroin, no freaking way.
All right, another twist in the case, as if there could be another one. The yacht where police say Titchelman helped the Google executive shoot heroin, then stepped over his body, finished her glass of wine, and left without calling for help. CNN affiliate KRON, or KRON, reports that yacht is for sale for $345,000.
Okay.
By the way, I was watching this to Eric, and he's punched. You have to give him credit on this one. He says, "Wow, that was a long way to go for an ad to sell a yacht."
Yeah, good point.
But no, they had to guess the Google guy had this boat was filled with cameras.
Yeah.
And so this idiot woman.
This story, there's something wrong with the story. Do we know anyone who actually knew this guy? You're a little bit more ingrained in the
No, he's just Google is a locked vessel. It is a closed shop. They do not let the media do anything. You can know a few people at Google. You can go there and have lunch with them. You can go hang out in Google if you want to. But nobody's talking about nothing. That's very closed. It's almost secretive. They don't have any real forward-looking press operation. You have to send requests in. Everybody does. And then you get terse notes back. It's really a horrible place.
But it's almost like there's a cover-up that the guy was a smack junkie. And he,
the local stories played that.
But everybody's making it look like she killed him and she murdered him, when it sounds like he was just having crazy-ass sex with a crazy-ass hooker who had crazy-ass horse.
And killed him.
Yeah, and
dropped dead. And she said, "Well, I'm glad that's over with."
Let me have a damn. That's
might have thought he passed out too. I mean, you don't know. Right. Whatever the case was, she's done this a couple of times, and that I was listening to that voice where she made the phone call, and she seems pretty sketchy. Yeah. But
but it's tech news. At least we have something to talk about.
Tech news, yeah. Horrors.
All right, I have one final thing, but it's just a thought. Since we don't really have. And there is no tech news, but I have a $1 billion idea, and I want to give that away on this show. Of course, value for value. Well, I have some ideas about how we can protect our upside in this. It came to me after listening and watching this report.
300 simulated plane crash victims on the runway at SeaTac.
I have a collarbone injury in my chest. It's coming out.
Broke your legs? Do you have any other pain other than your legs?
These volunteers are putting first responders through their paces, each with a specific role they're playing.
I have a compound fracture of the leg, and I'm screaming for help and trying to find my purse.
This kind of mass casualty drill is required by the feds for the airport to keep its certification.
And it's also great practice for us that we can close down an entire runway and actually walk through the process with all of our first responders.
And these volunteers say spending the day laying on the runway is worth it if someday it saves someone's life. The drill will be going on until at least 1 this afternoon, so maybe if you're headed to the airport right now to catch a flight, don't be taken off guard if you see that dramatic scene going on right now. Back to you.
All right, learning from history to prevent things in the future. Theron, thanks so much.
All right. So this is these drills, and they have these crisis actors, and they all, and it gives people a very real world experience. And this is now commonplace in der Schule, in the schools where we have active shooter drills, and the whole country is crazy with making it so realistic as possible. I mean, it hit me. Amateur radio. And John, here comes it's a maybe not $1 billion idea right off the bat, but I think hundreds of millions of dollars could possibly make. Here we go. From gamifying amateur radio. And let me explain what I mean. First of all, what do these guys, they do these emergency nets where they're like, okay, in a real emergency here on Sunday night at 11, we're going to check in and make sure we all know how to communicate. They should have ham radio guys with with real situations, scripted, but like realistic sound effects, people screaming in the background and stuff, and like, okay, we need help over here, and we need to bring the choppers in, and have these guys really, really do a real drill. Have them involved in these drills, right? Now, the problem with ham radio is they've stopped innovation in 1952. And I was talking to a developer, this guy Andrea in Italy, and he does an app for ham radio, for these digital modes. And I want you to take a look at some screenshots, just so you can see what I'm talking about. And you can see this, John, if you go to hamshots.noagendanotes.com. hamshots.noagendanotes.com. Are you there?
No.
Okay. I just want you to take a look. You'll see I have ham radio screenshots. Do you have it?
I'm getting there.
You'll see the KX.
Okay, I got ham radio screenshots.
Yeah. Now you click on the first one. You see the KX3 companion app.
Okay.
And you see like a waterfall, as we call it, with signals. And then you see it's gobbledygook, but that turns into actual text above. Right? You see the frequency. Then you see below that another link for the waterfall. And you can see something that looks like Space Invaders. But that's also, those are signals.
Yeah.
And then the combo screen. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this screen. We got like a spectrum analysis, and you got these Space Invaders flopping down. And why don't we develop these apps like games? Like, War of Worldcraft and all this stuff.
World of
Warcraft, whatever. Real games where you're shooting at these waterfalls. Think of it as you can do it as a complete computer game, and you can play against each other, people around the world, but you have this added element of the maker vibe where you have to build your transmitter. You gotta, in order to participate, you have to have a transceiver, and you have to have an antenna. And all you need to do is create an app that essentially you can build it with like a Twitter interface. You can do it a complete game because it's just a network. It's a network of communication signals. And even with your dinky ass technician's license, which you have, of course, I'm a general, you can already get on all of these on HF bands. You have like on 40 meters, you're allowed you have certain permissions, 10 meters specifically, and anything on the higher frequencies. And we could, the Arduino guys are all over this. We just need to rebrand all these things. And you can game and shoot down transmitters in balloons, in drones. You can even, you could be fighting against the astronauts on the International Space Station. All of this is already happening. It's just instead of doing something cool with it, all these ham radio guys are going, yeah, what's the weather? Yeah, it's my signal report 59959. Instead of I'm going to shoot you, or listen, this could be cool. So these are some Arduino projects, and lots of people use Arduino. APRS data logger. No, we need to rebrand that. Drone target locator, and you could actually have a simulated drone strike. QRSS beacon, extremely low-powered drone target locator, high voltage.
Okay, I'll let you go on and on, but Where you talking about $1 billion? Where's the $1 billion?
The $1 billion is to create apps and interfaces that use the stuff that is already. There's contests. Everything is already in place, John. Everything is in place. It's just no one has done the new interface. They're doing the same. They're drawing pictures of old school radios with knobs on it that you manipulate with the mouse instead of making it into a game. Then everyone would want to be on it. Look, we're going to get kicked off the internet anyway. So why not be ahead of the game? And all you have to do is take these existing, it's digital, and create new interfaces in your apps. We'll promote it. You give us a piece of the action. And we have the patent on it now because we've already, we've discussed it here. We have prior art.
Okay, I guess.
You don't see it?
No, actually, I don't.
Listen, instead of a handheld walkie-talkie, you call it a wearable. Don't you see? It's so easy.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think
DTMF-controlled SSTV camera? Webcam girls, hello. It's so obvious that this needs to be done. You're not seeing. You have no vision.
I know. You're the visionary.
you have no vision. You don't see the... Oh, man, I feel like I've completely miscommunicated this to you.
Well, I'm looking at the one picture with all the aliens coming down. It's kind of interesting. Okay, I'll have to conceptualize what you're telling me. You're going to have to tell me more.
Okay,
probably not on the show.
Well, the point is, I believe that there is an entire segment of people who actually would listen to our show.
No, I'll tell you this. Well, let's back up to your original premise. I'm in total agreement. This is a technology that's been allowed to languish since about 1950 or 48, for that matter. They don't let you do this. They don't let you do that. The amateur radio, you got to remember, amateur radio actually stems from the early radio days, from the early 1900s, from about 1918 to about 1925. And there's like tons of magazines, and it was all hobbyists back then. It was very much like the early computer days. It was going to save the world, and everyone could communicate with everybody else. And there's all kinds of gear, and it was just fantastic. And it was wide open. It was a wide open West, like the internet is today. Get used to the fact that this is the golden age of the internet. This isn't going to last any longer than the golden age of radio went on. And by that, I mean the early days of radio, not the 30s and 40s where all the radio plays were on. And that period was very slowly. They started to tighten and tighten and tighten. And now you got not only the inability to do half the stuff you'd like to do on amateur radio, if you could, but you can't. You can't play music. You can't talk about business. You can't do this. And you have to put your call letters out there every 5 minutes, or somebody who's listening in was going to turn you in, because it's essentially an entire world of I would say stool pigeons that are out there listening to your every move and reporting you, because this is kind of their hobby. And you can't do certain digital things. You can't get a high-speed internet connection over ham radio. There's packet radio and some of these slow speed crazy things that are just only so good. And then they keep taking bandwidth away. Well, we need this for some wireless thing, or the phone company wants it, so you hams can go away, or we're going to run signals up and down the wires that are out in front of your house. Is going to screw up your ham signal. Too bad. It's a disaster.
See, I see it I see only opportunity. I see the guys who are doing 250 milliwatt communications and tracking it back through the internet, and are sending control command codes, which is all of this is legal according to ham standards. All this stuff that you just talked about is the old school. That's all screw those guys. Screw every single one of them. They're all boring, old, and annoying. And the new ham guys, they can be doing amazing things. They can have apps communicating with each other in real time, and it's a beautiful new element that you add to it, where you have to build your little Arduino stack. You get your Raspberry Pi, you put it all together, you put a wire out the window, and sure, some guys will buy the big rigs, but we all think you're dicks anyway, and we'll try and jam your signal. It's time to play. This thing it's begging to be gamified. It's just begging. And we could do this under the radar in a year. We could have something completely cool going on that no one would understand how to stop.
You have a guy, you don't know how to stop it. You have an FCC guy knocking on your door. Would you like a $10,000 fine, sir?
No. They're not doing anything illegal. It's all legal. What do you mean?
We don't like what you're doing.
Satan!
I'm telling you, it's a good idea. All right. I will never bring it up again. But you should.
I'm sure you will bring it up again.
No, I'm not going to now.
As long as you don't. Okay.
As long as I don't what?
Nothing. What else we got? We got to fit wrap.
Okay, so the World Cup, I guess, has already started. The finals. This is. I'm gun shy. I don't want to talk about anything anymore.
I'm going to stick with the theory. Argentina wins.
Yeah. Well, I'm tired of people saying we don't know shit about soccer, and I said that's not the point.
Those guys.
That's not the point.
You don't know what a striker is, idiots. I thought this was good. I got a clip here. Pope Benedict was the German, and I guess the Argentinian guy. They got together and shook hands over this upcoming match, and this was the kicker to the whole thing.
In Germany, soccer is the most important sport, and I've always been passionate about it. For me, there's nothing more important.
The match has been pitched as a tale of two popes, pitting Argentine Pontiff Francis against his predecessor Benedict. But the Vatican says the match starts too late even for football fan Francis. Benedict, meanwhile, is apparently not fussed about football.
So Benedict, the German guy, he's like, the other guy's a football fan. He's like, what kind of a religious leader, to be honest about it, spiritual leader would ever admit to being a football fan? It's a rigged sport. It's I don't know. It's like all sports. There are opiates for the masses.
Well, in this case,
I enjoy sports, but I'm not running the church.
No.
The other pope had it right. You know, what's the fuss?
Yeah. Well, whenever you have 7 million people in America watching anything, it's a distraction moment. So I'll be watching everything else. This is too big now in America.
Well, I haven't watched any one of these matches.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I have watched.
So when somebody says, oh, you don't know anything about soccer or football, I say, yeah, so what? We're not predicting this game based on our knowledge of the game. We're doing it for geopolitical reasons. And so I'll just say that Argentina is going to win probably 2-1. They're all 2-1 except the one match. And then that's that. I don't care. I'm not going to watch the game. There's a good baseball game on.
Well, as you know, I'm from the future. And it's very horrible, but Germany wins. And this solidifies their power. And they will become the adversary of the world for the third time. This is the tipping point.
Actually, it's not the third time. You go back far enough.
It's more than 3.
It's about 50.
Why is it always those guys?
It's just that they like it. They enjoy it. It's part of their culture.
All right. And the next show we do will be from the new place.
Yeah, that's exciting.
If all goes according to plan.
You want to do a test run or anything? I guess you don't.
Well, no, I'll have to. I mean, it's.
I just go to the call testing center, you know.
No, but these crazy Time Warner guys, man. It's like you cannot book a transition more than 1 week or 10 days in advance. So I've been calling every 2 weeks to move my appointment. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So in other words, you get the appointment, so now they're locked in, and now you can push it as opposed to making it from scratch and not getting it on time.
Right. Well, but you know, I called last month and I said, I want to be on the 16th. No, I can't go past the 5th of July. What do you mean? Well, I can't book it that far in advance. Okay. I don't know why.
So I'm thinking of back to this website, the McCoyshop.com, which has all the medals and stuff you can get for the EU.
Mm-hmm, the sash.
There's a bunch of cool stuff we can get. I'm going to get myself a medal.
I just want a sash. I think a sash is
definitely getting the sash. They're pretty expensive. Maybe I just have Mimi make one.
A sash is Mimi handy that way?
Yeah. She could make a sash.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Just like this too. You wouldn't know the difference. It would be a lot cheaper.
Really? Wow. But it wouldn't be official. It has to have the...
bull crap. Who cares?
There's something about the official...
Put a no agenda challenge coin at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. I can do a sash with a whole bunch of challenge coins.
Yeah.
Like Flair.
Flair.
It's European Flair, everybody.
They got a couple different. They have an alderman slash. They have a mayor slash. Sash. So there's more than one kind of sash available. I like the alderman one. I don't even know what an alderman is.
I've seen it on the show Chicago, so I know exactly what an alderman is.
Does he wear a sash? Oh, there's a different kind of sash a hip model. All right. Around your hip, and then there's a bunch of cords that sag.
All right, everybody. We'll see the state of the world on Thursday, and we will bring you the best analysis we can of everything. Please remember us, as we do need your support, at Dvorak.org/NA. Show notes, as always, at 634.nashownotes.com, and try out search.nashownotes.com. That thing is phenomenal. Coming to you for the last time here from the Travis Heights Hideout in the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm still looking at this website, I'm trying to decide whether I should take the shield with the Flemish lion or the shield with the Wallen cock. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll talk to you on Thursday right here on No Agenda.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Bingo, boom, boom, chaka-laka-laka, boom, 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 chaka-laka, boom, boom.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA